Mechanicsburg Wildcat Football, presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville, live on Go Mechanicsburg. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow Wildcat Athletics at Go Mechanicsburg on YouTube. Available on all smart devices. Wildcat Football live on YouTube at Go Mechanicsburg is presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville, Bobby Ray Hall Automotive Group, Charity Kastner RSR Realtors, Your Neighborhood Chick-fil-A at Shepherdstown Crossing, Lawnscapes Inc., Members First Federal Credit Union, Operation Wildcat, OSS Health, now with 2 locations on the West Shore, Mechanicsburg Area Recreation Department, RBC Wealth Management and the Turnbridge Group, Renewed Hearing Solutions, Shaggy Chic Dog Grooming, Sheets, Snappers Bar and Grill, Seth Gardner State Farm, Your Harrisburg True Green Lawn Care, Westshire Decks servicing all of Central PA, the Wildcat Foundation, and Wolf Brewing Company. Now, let's check in with Ben Shad for this week's edition of Foundation Facts with the Wildcat Foundation.
Hello, Wildcat fans, and thanks for tuning in for this varsity contest on YouTube at Go Mechanicsburg. Tonight's broadcast is presented by 11 Oaks Farm in Newville. We'll get you out to the Members First Federal Credit Union broadcast booth in just a bit, but right now it's time for Foundation Facts presented by the Wildcat Foundation. Joining us for this week for another new season of Foundation Facts is once again Jeff Pratt. Jeff, good to see you again.
Hey, Ben. Glad to be here. Happy for another school year.
All righty. So let's get into it. For a lot of new folks who might be tuning in for the first time, give us a little bit of a breakdown of your role, what the Wildcat Foundation is, the mission, the whole 9 yards.
Sure. I'm starting my 3rd year with the foundation. I'm the executive director, so I'm the employee of the foundation. We have a 21-member volunteer board. We're a nonprofit education foundation, so we raise funds that support the Mechanicsburg Area School District across education, athletics, cultural, and various categories. We run 2 main programs that we do. We do scholarships that we release each May to graduating seniors, and then we have a grants program that we run year to year. Our grants programs are approved in the spring, and then we're implementing them this year. So for the upcoming school year, we have $87,000 in grant funding that will be doling out as teachers work through the different programs that they applied for. And we're finishing off our payments for $43,000 in scholarships that we handed out in May at the senior awards ceremony at the high school to 8 graduating seniors. It's the heart of what we do, and we fundraise through a couple different events. Our golf event we just held and wrapped up. We do an annual appeal in the fall, and we have a Wildcat Night dinner each February. That'll be February 20th, 2026 this year. So it's the heart of what we do is the grant funding, the scholarships, and support for the school district, and especially for innovative programs or new ideas that teachers work on or bring that are a little outside the school district budget. We don't fund what is already there. We fund something new and with hopes that it sticks and eventually becomes part of the school district budget.
And we've seen so many fantastic stories over the years of these new programs that come to fruition, a lot of outside the box learning initiatives that teachers bring ahead, and not just in the standard core curriculum classrooms either, but we see them in outside. We talk to band directors and art teachers, and there was talks of the esports team or an esports classroom being developed. I mean, there really is no limit to what the foundation can do to kind of get, again, that outside the box learning brought right here in Mechanicsburg.
What's fascinating for what I get to do, because on one end, I lead on the fundraising and work with our board to do that, but I get to implement the grants. So I talk to the teachers, and then throughout the year, I work with them on payments and stuff. So I get to see what they're doing. And the learning environment is constantly changing. So teachers face challenges all the time. There's growth. There are changes in technology. There are positives that come along. There are challenges that come along. And things like COVID-19 that were so disruptive are still having an impact today. So some of the programs we do are built around how teachers teach and what they do to help kids have a better learning environment, what they do to help kids have a softer start to the day, and what they do to help kids that come from not so good environments, sometimes from their home environment into school. And there's so much emphasis now on how kids are set up to learn each day. And it's fascinating what teachers will work on to provide that environment for those kids. It's really, really, really encouraging to see teachers with energy, teachers with ideas that approach us about this stuff, because there is a lot of energy. It's a challenging job. And this is a growing school district, so that brings pluses and minuses to it. But it's full of teachers that are dedicated to what they do and dedicated to helping the kids here. It's a fantastic school district with a lot of great intent starting from the top all the way down.
And always good to hear. We're going to look forward to hearing from those teachers throughout this fall, winter, and upcoming spring sports season as well. But just kind of focusing on the foundation now, what's going to be new for 2025 to 2026 for you guys?
Yep. We keep working to find new ways we can make an impact too, and we have some standard programs we've always run, some things we change and update. Again, changes are part of what we do too, and to adapt. In 2019, the Citizens Fire Company, when it merged became Mechanicsburg Volunteer Fire Company, made a large donation to us, and we've used that over the past 5 years to fund. It was a wellness fund, and we funded AED purchases for the school district and CPR reimbursement. That this past year, we purchased 3 new AEDs for the school district, and this applies for other AED devices they already had. And we've exhausted that fund from the Citizen Fire Company. It was a great purpose that it had as our wellness fund. So we're replacing that this year on the one side of it to keep reimbursing teachers and coaches in the school district for CPR training. They have to get certified I think it's every other year that they have to get certified for it. So we go through and provide reimbursement for the coaches or teachers when they do that. And we're working to find ways for AED purchases in the future, what we can do when that fund is out there. We also run a program through our EITC funding called dual enrollment at the high school level that keeps expanding, but it's a neat program for juniors and seniors at the high school. They can take college level classes. They get credit for high school. They get credit for college. It's at a reduced rate for the college fee that they would be paying if they were taking it in college. And the foundation provides $150 per class for students when they apply for this. So it's a neat way to help. It's an ever-growing program for postgraduate things at the high school and what kids are going into, and that involves trades and other things too. So they partner with area colleges, Messiah, Harrisburg University, Hack, Millersville, and they're trying to, Shippensburg, I believe, is being added to the program too. So keep developing ways that kids can graduate and go on and find a career. And it's not always going to be college, but it is college for some, it's trade schools for others, and dual enrollment offers a way to support those kids and for us to support them.
Fantastic. And the continuing initiatives, just always so great to hear. If anybody watching at home is feeling so inclined to help out, they want to volunteer, donate, whatever it may be, how can they do so?
So an easy way is on our website is wildcatfoundation.org, and we have a volunteer link on there. We do committees for our events. So we just finished our golf event, and we'll head now into planning for the annual appeal in the fall. The annual appeal is a straight donation appeal we do with a letter and email and explain some of the stuff that we do as the foundation. It's an easy way to donate to us and into our operational fund and for our grants and scholarships. And the next big event we have is Wildcat Night coming up in February. Golf and Wildcat Night, we run online auctions with them that are available to everyone in the school district. It's a great way to support us too with different things that area businesses or area people donate items to us, and you can bid on them. And those items are across different bounds, lots of different things, activities, events, and some items like that. Our golf event our auction wrapped up on Wednesday this week, so we'll be starting to plan for the Wildcat Night on our next event there. There are lots of opportunities to help us by the donations. There are lots of opportunities to help us if you want to volunteer for an event.
Well, fantastic. Jeff, thank you so much. Looking forward to hearing from you and the many other involved with the foundation throughout the year. Folks, this has been Foundation Facts presented by the Wildcat Foundation. Learn more about them online at wildcatfoundation.org. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll check in with Coach's Corner with Mike Garland and head football coach Dave Hecker. Tonight's broadcast is presented by 11 Oaks Farm in Newville. We'll be right back after this.
Locally owned and operated, 11 Oaks Farms raises Wagyu beef and heritage breed pork right here in Newville, Pennsylvania. Our low-stress practices and carefully designed diets produce some of the finest meats you will ever experience. We also offer a selection of quality Angus beef, pork, chicken, seasonings, sauces, pantry items, and much more. Shop online at 11oaksfarms.com. Visit us in-store at 34 North Corporation Street in Newville or call 717-360-8249.
Does your property need a little TLC?
Call Lawnscapes Inc. of Mechanicsburg today at 717-697-1833 and see how Wes Moret and his team can transform or maintain your residential or commercial property. From hardscapes to yard services of all types, tree and shrub service and more, this locally owned and operated business has you covered. Call today for your free estimate. Lawnscapes Inc. at 717-697-1833. That's 717-697-1833.
OSS Health is physician-owned and operated. We're able to help patients in a way that others cannot.
We're not looking at a number.
Everyone's looking out for the best thing for the patient.
Seeing that they're reaching their goals, making the community as healthy as possible.
What I love most is when I get to see them get back to the activity that they love.
When I see a patient smiling, it makes it all worth it. I love my job.
Operation Wildcat is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to pool the resources in our community to help our school district students, families, and staff members in need. We'll take your new or gently used back-to-school items, bikes, books, clothing, dresses and suits, furniture, Halloween costumes, gifts for the holiday, Christmas tree decorations, pennies, socks, underwear, Thanksgiving food, toothbrushes and toothpaste, and yard sale items. Learn more at OperationWildcat.org and go Wildcats.
Elevate your everyday with the Mechanicsburg Area Recreation Department. Immerse yourself in a world of excitement and discovery. From adrenaline-pumping sports to serene outdoor escapes, we've got your perfect recreation blend. Join us for fitness, family fun, and fantastic experiences. Unleash your inner adventurer. It's time for a thrilling escape. Visit mbgsd.org and click on the Recreation tab. Or drop by our office at the Trails and Trees Environmental Center. Mechanicsburg Area Recreation, where every moment is a new adventure.
At Bobby Ray Hall, it's about doing the right thing, starting with our vision, that clients deserve great service at a fair price. We understand this can only happen with great team members. Doing what's right includes supporting local charities, youth sports, and first responders. It extends to the environment and why we reclaim rainwater for car washes and recycle used oil. We want to thank our loyal clients for recognizing us by voting Bobby Ray Hall simply the best of Harrisburg for 21 years in a row. Experience the Bobby Ray Hall difference and find out more at BobbyRayHall.com.
The Turnbridge Group at RBC Wealth Management is a proud supporter of Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics. When faced with tough business and personal financial decisions, turn to the Turnbridge Group. With a focus on retirement planning and complex financial situations, the team helps you define and achieve your goals, all while building a strong and caring relationship with you and your family. Financial advisors Tim Engel, Jonathan Stow, and Nick Hansen are available for your call. The Turnbridge Group, part of the community and for the community. Visit them online at turnbridgegroup.com or call 717-724-4225 today.
I needed a change in my life. I wanted to be closer to my grandchildren. I was not hearing what the kids were saying. I fly hot air balloons and I couldn't hear leaks. It was time to take care of my hearing. As soon as I met Mary Ann at Renewed Hearing Solutions, she made me feel so comfortable. My life has improved so much since I got hearing aids. It was the best thing I've ever done. I would highly recommend Renewed Hearing Solutions.
Get back in the conversation. Call Renewed Hearing Solutions today.
Getting you back to Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics, presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville. Live on Go Mechanicsburg.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Ben Shad, and it's time for our weekly Wildcat scoreboard presented by Operation Wildcat. On Saturday, August 23rd, field hockey travels to Palmyra for a 10 a.m. face-off. Girls soccer and boys soccer both travel to Northeastern, with the girls kicking off at 2:30, the boys following with a kickoff at 6. On Monday, August 25th, girls soccer travels to Cedar Cliff for a 3:45 p.m. kickoff. Girls tennis travel to Palmyra. They start their match at 4. Boys soccer is home against Cedar Cliff. They kick off at 5. On Tuesday, August 26th, golf travels to Mifflin County for a 1 p.m. match start time. Field hockey is home against Cedar Cliff. They face off at 4:15. Girls volleyball travels to Central Dauphin. They start at 5:30. On Wednesday, August 27th, girls soccer is home against Chambersburg. They kick off at 5. The boys travel to Chambersburg. They kick off at 5:30. On Thursday, August 28th, girls tennis is home against Carlisle. They start at 4 p.m. Field hockey is also home against Chambersburg. They start at 4:15. And on Saturday, August 30th, football is against Palmyra at Northern Lebanon High School. They kick off at noon. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to Wildcat Athletics on X/Twitter and on YouTube at Go Mechanicsburg. You can also visit mbgsd.org and click on the Athletics tab or download the new district app for the latest Wildcat news and information. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll join Mike Garland for Coach's Corner right after this on Go Mechanicsburg, now on YouTube at Go Mechanicsburg. As always, tonight's game is presented by 11 Oaks Farm in Newville.
We are dedicated to serving our members, associates, and communities because they give us purpose. We know we are stronger when we come together as one. We believe financial literacy is a key tool for personal well-being, economic stability, and a more secure financial future for everyone. And we are committed to providing all with access to financial wellness resources. We strive to deliver unparalleled experiences for our members through every moment and milestone. We are built by will, forged by people, and powered by a proud member experience.
Are you on the hunt for a new home? Maybe you're a growing family looking to expand your living situation, or you find your current space too large and you're simply looking to downsize. Whatever your needs, contact Charity Kastner, Realtor with RSR Realtors today. Charity knows the local real estate market and she will find the right home for you. Charity Kastner isn't just a Mechanicsburg-based realtor, she's a Mechanicsburg mom. And after all, mother knows best. Just ask her kids. Make the move today by calling Charity Kastner at 717-557-9312 or rsrrealtors.com to find your first or next home sweet home.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Seth Gardner for your personal price plan today.
Snappers Bar and Grill at 120 East Allen Street in Mechanicsburg is proud to support Wildcat Athletics. Snappers is open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. until 9 p.m. and offers outstanding service and exceptional food and drink options, all at a fair price. Stop in for fresh seafood, delicious hand-cut steaks, and homemade pasta dishes. Snappers also offers a variety of sandwiches, fresh, crisp salads, and awesome appetizers. Dine in, carry out, or have your next big gathering catered. Snappers Bar and Grill, call 717-697-9475 to learn more.
With True Green, we got a great price on a golf course quality lawn,
which attracted golfers.
Morning.
Who needs a warm-up?
And because True Green's doing the work, we get to have more fun.
Please don't post that.
Too late.
They don't have grass this thick in Australia.
That's what happens when you have a great lawn.
Shanked it again, huh? They're fun to have around.
PGA Tour quality lawns for as little as $1 a day.
Where are we playing next?
Get started at TrueGreen.com.
A deck where memories are made, barbecues are grilled, and sunsets are savored. But let's face it, not all decks are created equal. Enter Westshire Decks. We're not your average deck builders. Precision is our mantra. We don't just build decks, we craft outdoor living spaces tailored to your dreams. With Westshire Decks, you get seasoned experts who know decks inside and out. So why settle for a deck that's just okay when you can have one that's extraordinary? Westshire Decks, where craftsmanship meets creativity. Give us a call today and come see how we are different.
The Wildcat Foundation is Mechanicsburg Area School District's education foundation. Established in 1998, the foundation raises and distributes funds that support students in education, wellness, cultural awareness, and athletics. The Wildcat Foundation has also awarded hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarships to support students' higher education. Learn more and donate today at wildcatfoundation.org. Wolf Brewing Company, located in Legacy Park, just off South Market Street in Mechanicsburg, offers a family and pet-friendly atmosphere for community members of all ages. Family owned by Wildcat graduates, Wolf Brewing Company serves up delectable dishes including comfort foods with a gourmet twist, plus drinks of all types for the community, from the community. Roll in before, during, or after the game for their laid-back ambiance, live music, trivia, and more. Wolf Brewing Company, 100 Legacy Park Drive, Suite 400, or online at wolfbrewingco.com.
Getting you back to Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics, presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville. Live on Go Mechanicsburg.
It's time for Coach's Corner, presented by the Wildcat Foundation. Here's head coach Dave Heckard and the voice of the Wildcats, Mike Garland.
It is time for Coach's Corner, presented by our friends at the Wildcat Foundation. And as we enter into week one of the 2025 season, I'm excited to connect with the Mid-Penn Keystone Coach of the Year from 2024. It is Dave Heckard. Coach, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing all right. So your second year, high expectations, right? You go undefeated last year, you win the conference, you pick up a playoff win, hard-fought game against Bishop McDevitt. A lot of expectations here in 2025.
Oh, we want that, right? I mean, that means that things are going well if you have high expectations, right? So, but you know, in any most public high school programs, right? Like you lose guys, like you lose Eli Ryder, you lose Josh Smith, you lose an Isaac Dolman. Well, you're not replacing those guys. You just don't, right? So you got to work with kids, in the off season, in the weight room, and in the gym, and on the field, and develop kids. And it's always exciting coming into like a new year and seeing what you have.
So let's go back to last year, because this is the first time you and I have really been able to talk sort of on record about what 2024 meant. As I said, you go 10-0, you win the conference championship. There wasn't a game on the schedule that was close by any stretch. You beat Cocalico in the playoffs. You go toe-to-toe with Bishop McDevitt, who went on to be the state champions. You lose a ton of players, though. You rattled off a few, and there's even more young men that we didn't mention. What were your thoughts on what you accomplished last year in your rookie year in the community with this team?
Oh man, I mean, it was extremely special. I mean, I think the 2024 season, that team was a great team, a complete team, and as a first year coach coming in and having that go down everything the way it did, I've been doing this long enough to know that every year is not going to go like that, and I think our expectations are still high, and we're going to come out and we're going to compete every week. But as far as last year, I mean, just the community, the town, the school, that's what it's all about. And I felt like, I hopefully want to see the same crowds and the same turnout for our home games this year as we did last year. So
there were a lot of highs last year, certainly some lows along the way, both on the field and off with your team. Is there one high point that really stands out? I'm sure you're proud of how they played against Bishop McDevitt, even though the team fell short 26-14. But is there one true high point of the year last year where you thought, man, we really have something here?
Yeah, no, I mean, I felt like the last three games of the season before McDevitt. So we had like Hershey, Shippensburg, who was undefeated, and then Cocalico, who was two-time returning District 3 champs. And we went out and played lights out against those three teams, and to handily beat those three teams the way we did, that's when I kind of took a step back and was like, man, like we have a nice group here, and everything came together. But I would say those last couple games before McDevitt was really eye-opening to me of how much progress we made and how good those guys had become. So,
and you don't have to pull the curtain back too much, because what is said in the locker room stays in the locker room. But what was the feeling after McDevitt?
So I think the toughest thing is when you lose and you're in the playoffs, it's over. So here's like a group of people like you just spend the last 2.5 months, 3 months with, even longer. I mean, if you include the weight room over the summer, and you're with them every day, and then you lose, and then it's over. So I feel like that whole deal there, that's tough. But I always say, like, we as young men are not defined by the game of football, right? So I told the guys after the game, like, we're still going to be friends. Like, we're still going to see each other in the hallway. We're still going to, support each other in our other sports that we play. We're just not going to be able to play football again together, and that's hard. But we had a good culture last year, and to see that end was tough. But hey, they had a great season, and nothing to hang their head about. So,
and certainly no rest for the weary, as Coach Heckard then transitioned immediately from football season to wrestling. I mean, when did you finally get to chill out for a minute and enjoy just being a dad and a husband?
Oh man, so we lost to McDevitt on Friday night, and I was in the practice room for wrestling on Monday. But it's just kind of what I do, right? I mean, it's what I've done for my whole life, and I have great support at home with all that, and I feel like like I said, I enjoy it, and it's what I do, and we roll right into wrestling season, and rolled right in with that. So
a ton of high points, a ton of all-star players on the field, great young men in the community, and we'll close the books officially on 2024. Not a bad way to start your rookie campaign as head coach, right?
No, and I'm glad you said that too. The closing the door part. I feel like that's important for the mental aspect of our team. And that was the first thing I said at camp. Hey, championship T-shirts, championship sweatshirts, all that stuff's great, but it's a new season now, okay? And we got to put that behind us and remember it. That's part of what we do, and part of the excitement of this whole thing. But at the end of the day, it's a new season this year. So,
all right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will talk about this week's opponent, the Carlisle Thundering Herd. It is week 1 of the 2025 season. Coach's Corner presented by the Wildcat Foundation. We'll be right back after this, live on Go Mechanicsburg.
We are dedicated to serving our members, associates, and communities because they give us purpose. We know we are stronger when we come together as one. We believe financial literacy is a key tool for personal well-being, economic stability, and a more secure financial future for everyone. And we are committed to providing all with access to financial wellness resources. We strive to deliver unparalleled experiences for our members through every moment and milestone. We are built by will, forged by people, and powered by a proud member experience.
Are you on the hunt for a new home? Maybe you're a growing family looking to expand your living situation, or you find your current space too large and you're simply looking to downsize. Whatever your needs, contact Charity Kastner, Realtor with RSR Realtors today. Charity knows the local real estate market, and she will find the right home for you. Charity Kastner isn't just a Mechanicsburg-based realtor, she's a Mechanicsburg mom. And after all, mother knows best. Just ask her kids. Make the move today by calling Charity Kastner at 717-557-9312 or rsrrealtors.com to find your first or next home sweet home.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Seth Gardner for your personal price plan today.
Snappers Bar and Grill at 120 East Allen Street in Mechanicsburg is proud to support Wildcat Athletics. Snappers is open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. until 9 p.m. and offers outstanding service and exceptional food and drink options, all at a fair price. Stop in for fresh seafood, delicious hand-cut steaks, and homemade pasta dishes. Snappers also offers a variety of sandwiches, fresh, crisp salads, and awesome appetizers. Dine in, carry out, or have your next big gathering catered. Snappers Bar and Grill, call 717-697-9475 to learn more.
With True Green, we got a great price on a golf course quality lawn,
which attracted golfers.
Morning.
Who needs a warm-up?
And because True Green's doing the work, we get to have more fun.
Please don't post that.
Too late.
They don't have grass this thick in Australia.
That's what happens when you have a great lawn.
Shanked it again, huh? They're fun to have around.
PGA Tour quality lawns for as little as $1 a day.
Where are we playing next?
Get started at TrueGreen.com.
A deck where memories are made, barbecues are grilled, and sunsets are savored. But let's face it, not all decks are created equal. Enter Westshire Decks. We're not your average deck builders. Precision is our mantra. We don't just build decks, we craft outdoor living spaces tailored to your dreams. With Westshire Decks, you get seasoned experts who know decks inside and out. So why settle for a deck that's just okay when you can have one that's extraordinary? Westshire Decks, where craftsmanship meets creativity. Give us a call today and come see how we are different.
The Wildcat Foundation is Mechanicsburg Area School District's education foundation. Established in 1998, the foundation raises and distributes funds that support students in education, wellness, cultural awareness, and athletics. The Wildcat Foundation has also awarded hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarships to support students' higher education. Learn more and donate today at wildcatfoundation.org. Wolf Brewing Company, located in Legacy Park, just off South Market Street in Mechanicsburg, offers a family and pet-friendly atmosphere for community members of all ages. Family owned by Wildcat graduates, Wolf Brewing Company serves up delectable dishes including comfort foods with a gourmet twist, plus drinks of all types for the community, from the community. Roll in before, during, or after the game for their laid-back ambiance, live music, trivia, and more. Wolf Brewing Company, 100 Legacy Park Drive, Suite 400, or online at wolfbrewingco.com.
Getting you back to Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics, presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville. Live on Go Mechanicsburg.
Welcome back to Coach's Corner, live on Go Mechanicsburg. Coach's Corner presented by our friends at the Wildcat Foundation. And Coach Heckard, as we head into week one, you said goodbye to a lot of amazing young men at the end of last football season. Some of them have still been around the program leading up to week one, but the young men that you're coaching on this week one Friday night, how has it been over the last couple of weeks?
Oh man, I mean, these guys had a great camp, and dealt with a lot of adversity at camp, just as far as time and scheduling with school starting a week earlier, and our practice field and track being redone. Just some adjustments we had to make, and I was really proud of these guys and the way they handled it. We had a good camp, and I was happy with what I saw at the scrimmage at different spots. We had to evaluate some kids, so there were some guys that didn't play a whole lot, but we were able to see the guys that we needed to see, and our pace is good right now. So
you have Noah Apple as your starting quarterback this year. What does Noah bring to the table that might be equal to or different than what Eli Ryder offered you last year?
So I think Noah's a smart quarterback, and I trust he's had a heck of an off-season in the weight room for us. He's had a great off-season, working with our coaching staff and becoming a better quarterback. Noah's a heck of a receiver, and for him to take that and give that position up and do that for his team as a quarterback, and then excel at it and do what he's doing at camp. And I'm really happy with his progress right now. And I just think he's a good leader. I think he's a smart kid, and I think he's ready to take the next step here as a senior.
There are so many young men that you just can't replace, but as you said, it is next man up. So we talk about what Noah brings to the table as Eli graduates and moves on. What does your backfield look like this year with Isaac Dolman and Brendan Mena moving on?
No, yeah, we have a couple guys back there that we're working with right now. We have kind of three guys we've been rotating through, and those guys have been giving us a good look. And Reese Miller, who had is a pretty good lacrosse player as well, is one of our backs. Drake Dawson will be touching the ball a little bit in the backfield, as well as Tony Francis. So those three there, did a great job during camp, and I think we'll split time at running back, and depending on what looks we get and who's feeling it. So.
And receiver-wise, again, Josh Smith, irreplaceable. In fact, I don't know what people can see behind us, but he's actually on the field right now catching some passes from Noah Apple as Josh gets ready to head off to Princeton. So not only do you need to replace Josh, but you mentioned Drake going to the backfield, Noah Apple moving from receiver to quarterback, Drake Dawson going to the backfield. So what does your receiver core look like in 2020?
Well, I think, back from last year, Jack DeLuca is going to be a pretty good staple out there for us at wide receiver. And I've really been happy with some of our younger kids and the way they've been coming along at wide receiver and the effort they've been giving. Ryan Foose is another name that comes to mind. It's been doing a great job. And we have a tight end, Landon Yale and Talon Verdelli have been subbing in and doing a nice job. So, we do have some depth at some of those spots, which is big. And, I think will allow us to, get some guys at different spots in the field and utilize their talents as much as we can,
Well, and I should mention Don Baker. I didn't when I referenced Brendan Mena and Isaac Dolman, but we saw Don Baker step up last year when Isaac was out for a few games. And really beyond that, because the score margin was such last year, so many of these young men saw substantial playing time last year. How many teams around the Mid-Penn can say that?
No, right. I think that's, That's important, right? Like, so, you know, you have some sophomores and juniors that in most cases might not have saw the field on Friday nights. Well, now last year they're on the field. So this year when they're stepping on the field, they're used to being out there a little bit. And, you know, that's part of the benefit of having a team that is successful and scores points. You know, you get the clock running, you get other guys in, and that builds your program, right?
We've talked a lot about the offense. On the defensive side, of course, you say goodbye to Justin Bardo, but then you have two Division I linemen, really both sides of the ball. Jimmy Dwyer going to Sacred Heart, Colin Stair, who recently committed to Central Michigan. There's not too many coaches around the conference that can say they have that sort of pedigree, offensively or defensively.
No, I mean, and for me, I feel like, you know, ball games are won and lost up front on both sides of the ball, and you know, I do feel like that's something that's a strength of ours this year, right? And we're going to hopefully ride that strength, and you know, hopefully be effective with the strong line, and you know, those two are definitely the anchor of our line on both sides.
As we talked earlier about putting last season to bed and knowing that this year's team is this year's team, regardless of roster carryover, there is something to be said for the fact that this year's seniors coach have not lost a regular season game since October 6th of 2023, whether you knew that or not. So these are young men that are accustomed to winning. There's probably some good and bad to that mindset, right?
I mean, winning is habitual. Fortunately, so is losing, right? But you know, that's part of, like I said, like tradition and programs. Like, we had a good season last year, so you want to take what we did last year and build off that and keep the momentum going. And hopefully we can do that. And you know, if we do, a big part of that will be from our tradition and our past. So
first day of school was earlier in the week.
Yep.
How have things been going so far?
Good. You know, we were able to go practice on Tuesday evening. I gave the kids, you know, the ability to go home, the freedom to go home after school and relax, eat, and then come back later. And I felt like it worked out, because usually that first day of school, practices aren't the best. You know, kids are tired. It's the first day of school. So we moved practice to this evening, and it actually worked out pretty well. So, you know, it's about preparing, right, and getting better every day at practice. And I told our guys, if we focus on ourselves and take care of what we need to take care of, you know, we'll be in a good spot Friday night.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck. Anything else you want to add going into week one?
No. You know, football season. Welcome back. Welcome back.
And we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will get you out to Ken Millen Stadium. Dave Harris is going to join me from the Members First Federal Credit Union broadcast booth as we kick off week one of the 2025 season. Carlisle and Mechanicsburg. The broadcast presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville, live on Go Mechanicsburg. Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
You've been watching Coach's Corner, presented by the Wildcat Foundation. Coming up, we'll get you out to the stadium for tonight's game live on YouTube at Go Mechanicsburg.
Locally owned and operated, 11 Oaks Farms raises Wagyu beef and heritage breed pork right here in Newville, Pennsylvania. Our low-stress practices and carefully designed diets produce some of the finest meats you will ever experience. We also offer a selection of quality Angus beef, pork, chicken, seasonings, sauces, pantry items, and much more. Shop online at 11oaksfarms.com. Visit us in-store at 34 North Corporation Street in Newville, or call 717-360-8249.
Does your property need a little TLC? Call Lawnscapes Inc. of Mechanicsburg today at 717-697-1833 and see how Wes Moret and his team can transform or maintain your residential or commercial property. From hardscapes to yard services of all types, tree and shrub service and more, this locally owned and operated business has you covered. Call today for your free estimate. Lawnscapes Inc. at 717-697-1833. That's 717-697-1833.
OSS Health is physician-owned and operated. We're able to help patients in a way that others cannot.
We're not looking at a number.
Everyone's looking out for the best thing for the patient.
Seeing that they're reaching their goals, making the community as healthy as possible.
What I love most is when I get to see them get back to the activity that they love.
When I see a patient smiling, it makes it all worth it. I love my job.
Operation Operation Wildcat is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to pool the resources in our community to help our school district students, families, and staff members in need. We'll take your new or gently used back-to-school items, bikes, books, clothing, dresses and suits, furniture, Halloween costumes, gifts for the holiday, Christmas tree decorations, pennies, socks, underwear, Thanksgiving food, toothbrushes and toothpaste, and yard sale items. Learn more at OperationWildcat.org and go Wildcats.
Elevate your everyday with the Mechanicsburg Area Recreation Department. Immerse yourself in a world of excitement and discovery. From adrenaline-pumping sports to serene outdoor escapes, we've got your perfect recreation blend. Join us for fitness, family fun, and fantastic experiences. Unleash your inner adventurer. It's time for a thrilling escape. Visit mbgsd.org and click on the Recreation tab. Or drop by our office at the Trails and Trees Environmental Center, Mechanicsburg Area Recreation, where every moment is a new adventure.
At Bobby Ray Hall, it's about doing the right thing, starting with our vision, that clients deserve great service at a fair price. We understand this can only happen with great team members. Doing what's right includes supporting local charities, youth sports, and first responders. It extends to the environment and why we reclaim rainwater for car washes and recycle used oil. We want to thank our loyal clients for recognizing us by voting Bobby Ray Hall simply the best of Harrisburg for 21 years in a row. Experience the Bobby Ray Hall difference and find out more at BobbyRayHall.com.
The Turnbridge Group at RBC Wealth Management is a proud supporter of Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics. When faced with tough business and personal financial decisions, turn to the Turnbridge Group. With a focus on retirement planning and complex financial situations, the team helps you define and achieve your goals, all while building a strong and caring relationship with you and your family. Financial advisors Tim Engel, Jonathan Stow, and Nick Hansen are available for your call. The Turnbridge Group, part of the community and for the community. Visit them online at turnbridgegroup.com or call 717-724-4225 today.
I needed a change in my life. I wanted to be closer to my grandchildren. I was not hearing what the kids were saying. I fly hot air balloons and I couldn't hear leaks. There was time to take care of my hearing. As soon as I met Mary Ann at Renewed Hearing Solutions, she made me feel so comfortable. My life has improved so much since I got hearing aids. It was the best thing I've ever done. I would highly recommend Renewed Hearing Solutions.
Get back in the conversation. Call Renewed Hearing Solutions today.
Getting you back to Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics, presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville. Live on Go Mechanicsburg.
It's time for Mechanicsburg Wildcat Football, presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville, live on Go Mechanicsburg. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow Wildcat Athletics at Go Mechanicsburg on YouTube, available on all smart devices. Wildcat Football, live on YouTube at Go Mechanicsburg, is presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville, Bobby Ray Hall Automotive Group, Charity Kastner RSR Realtors, Your Neighborhood Chick-fil-A at Shepherdstown Crossing, Lawnscapes Inc., Members First Federal Credit Union, Operation Wildcat, OSS Health, now with 2 locations on the West Shore, Mechanicsburg Area Recreation Department, RBC Wealth Management and the Turnbridge Group, Renewed Hearing Solutions, Shaggy Chic Dog Grooming, Sheets, Snappers Bar and Grill, Seth Gardner State Farm, Your Harrisburg True Green Lawn Care, Westshire Decks, servicing all of Central PA, the Wildcat Foundation, and Wolf Brewing Company. Now, let's head out to the stadium and the Members First Federal Credit Union broadcast booth for tonight's game.
With the call, here's the voice of the Wildcats, Mike Garland and Dave Harris.
And welcome back to the Members First Federal Credit Union broadcast booth. It's been 280 days since Dave Harris and I have done this together, and tonight it is the opener of the 2025 high school football season. The Mechanicsburg Wildcats and the Carlisle Thundering Herd. And Dave, we're going to see what this Wildcat offense can do right out of the gate.
Yeah, to get the ball to start, I guess Carlisle won and deferred, so Mechanicsburg getting the ball to go with, and we'll see what we're about. We know we've got a number of positions to fill in for the graduated class from last year that gave us a great season, but we also know we have some talent coming back. It'll be interesting to see how they deploy them.
Ryan Foose and J.J. Gould back deep to return the kick for the Wildcats, and teeing it up for the Thundering Herd will be Jones Bell.
This is his third-year head coach, Brandon Cook. 2-18 over his 2 years. That kick is short. It's going to be fielded by Talon Verdelli, and Verdelli is going to be knocked out of bounds near about the 35-yard line. So first down and 10 for the Wildcats, and we'll see what this offense is all about under the leadership of Noah Apple.
Yeah, Noah, obviously, we know him better as a receiver and as a cornerback, but that's certainly what the team needed from him last year. Any of you who followed the basketball season saw him as a role player on the basketball team. He actually had a couple really good games in the state playoffs, especially as a key defender. So I think he's got a little more going for him than maybe people think when you're replacing someone like Eli Ryder.
He was 6 of 7 last year, 59 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. And the first pass is complete to Jack DeLuca on the far side of the field, and DeLuca is stood up by Trayvon Harris and Michael Hakeem, a gain of about 5. It's going to bring up a second down and 5 for the Cats.
Yeah, it's a nice little play. They ran kind of a bubble setup, but it seemed like Carlisle was sitting on it, and that's a case where, Noah Apple, Eli Apple's a pro football player. I do this every year. Noah, kind of looked like the seasoned veteran a little bit there. He did the pump fake, got the guy in the air, and then found Jack DeLuca out in the flat for a nice little gainer on first down.
A single back in the backfield for the Wildcats looks to be sidecar left for Apple. 3 wide receivers with Drake Dawson on the wing. 3-step drop. Apple is going to be sacked. A big loss on the play as John Book converges with Amin Abakar. And third down and about 15 for Mechanicsburg.
Well, it was a screen pass. Everyone thinks it was this jailbreak pass rush. It was not. All his linemen were downfield. He just could not get his feet set. They got in there a little quicker. The screen game, we talk about it a lot. Coach Hakel is now back on staff with Frank Rubinek. The screen is a staple of Mechanicsburg football, but it is a timing play, and it's one of those things coming right out of the gate. First game can be a little dicey, and unfortunately we got the wrong end of the stick there.
4 wide receivers for the Cat. Apple in the gun. It's an inside handoff, and that goes to Reese Miller, and Miller picks up 2, maybe 3 yards. So first series of 2025 will be a punt for the Wildcats, and Noah Apple will be handling those punting duties as well for the Cats.
Well, the nice thing with Noah handling it too, we think back to maybe Gettysburg the last few years with, I believe their punter was their quarterback as well, and it lets you have a few different looks and a few different options in your pocket, but clearly a punting situation here.
Apple gets it away, wobbly side to side, will hit at about the 40, take a Wildcat bounce, and out of bounds. Just to the left of Michael Hakeem, the would-be returner for the Carlisle Thundering Herd. So the Herd come out, Dave, struggling over the last 2 years. 1-9 back-to-back campaigns. The one 2 years ago was the opener against the Wildcats, and then the one last year was the final game of the year against Altoona. So a big gap in between for wins for head coach Brandon Cook.
Well, and it's a tough conference. We know that. I mean, the Keystone's tough. Commonwealth is really tough. The Altoona team that they beat the last week actually, I believe, lost a 1-score game to McDevitt. So, Carlisle, it's tough to get on the right side of the win-loss column for them. But I think you'd be wrong to think that at 1-9 that they're not a formidable foe. I think, especially early in the game, we'll see what happens. But it's the kind of group that if you let them around week 1, which we have had them many years, they will punch you in the mouth and they will hang around, and then you're in a fight that sometimes you can't get out of.
Curtis Stroud with the carry for the Thundering Herd. Colin Stair with the tackle, and I suspect we're going to mention Colin Stair's name a lot here in 2025. The Central Michigan commit makes the first tackle from scrimmage. Another handoff given to Curtis Stroud, and that is going to be a tackle for loss -2. We'll take a look at it one more time.
Yeah, you talk a little bit about the players we lost, but the reality is we kept most of the players on the line, both sides of the ball. And, if you're anybody out there is an Eagles fan, Philadelphia Eagles fan, you build through the lines, right? It's what the Eagles have done for years. And in high school, you don't get a choice how you build. You got what you got. If they graduate, they graduate. Fortunately, most of our line players are back on both sides of the ball, and that shows up there on second down.
Will Smith, the quarterback, in the shotgun. Carlisle, home black, green and white trim, black helmets with the charging Bison and a block C on the helmet. That is an errant snap, and it's going to be corralled about 7 yards deep by Michael Hakeem. So Carlisle will punt on their first offensive possession as well.
Well, and this is where you they ran the screen pass, and it just didn't get it set up well. Timing wasn't there. Noah smartly does not try to force it. He eats it. They obviously take the big loss. They run on third down. They kick it away. They say, you know what, we got a defense. We can handle this. Let's not give our opportunity away here. Let's take care of business and get the ball back and see what we can do.
Michael Hakeem to punt for Carlisle, standing at his own 15-yard line. Noah Apple back to receive for the Cats. It's a high snap. Hakeem boots it away end over end. That's actually J.J. Gould. Gould fields and turns right, trying to turn the corner. He's going to be stopped at about the 45-yard line. Second possession of the game for the Wildcats. We'll take a look. And let's see what we have this time around.
I'll tell you what, nice play there by J.J. Gould. First of all, to field the punt, right, because that could have gone another 10 yards. And not only does he field it, but then he manages his way to fight upfield for a couple yards. That's a name we talked about not a lot last year, clearly, because we had some bigger names to talk about. But J.J. always seemed to find his way into the mix at different points in the game. And I think that experience is going to pay off many ways this season.
Drake Dawson in the backfield as Landon Yale and Talon Verdelli shift left. Apple takes the snap, hands to Drake Dawson. Dawson through the front line of Carlisle defenders, gains 4 on the play, second down and 6. And that is a big change of pace for the Cats when you can go from either J.J. Gould or Reese Miller to somebody like Drake Dawson.
Well, obviously we know Drake the last couple of years as a tight end, and when they could get him the ball in the middle of the field, it was fun to watch. But he's such a good ball player. They have so much to replace on the offensive side. Putting him in the backfield, you can increase his touches, right? 5 times a game is just not enough. Drake Dawson needs the ball in his hands.
Landon Yale, the tight end on the right. Apple takes the snap. Handoff to Dawson. Dawson turns the corner, picks up the first down for the Cats, and then some into the second level and out of bounds near the 30-yard line. The first big play from scrimmage on the season is a run by Drake Dawson.
Well, I think we saw that on both of his first 2 runs. Granted, one only for about 4 yards, and the second one there for, I guess, looks like about 25 yards. But the reality is the key to running back is not certainly just what happens below the shoulders, but it really is vision and seeing it and seeing where the crease is at and seeing where the opening's at. And he found it there on the perimeter on the right-hand side and got himself to the second level pretty quickly.
Reese Miller into the backfield as Drake Dawson heads to the bench. Apple one more time in the gun. Closing in on the 7-minute mark remaining here in quarter number 1, Ken Millen Stadium. Apple takes that snap, hands off to Reese Miller. He is stopped at the line of scrimmage. In on the tackle is Brayan Hunter. Also coming out of the pile for the Carlisle Thundering Herd, one of the captains, Nathan Carruthers, and that's a guy that should be a standout for the Herd this year.
Yeah, he's one of the players mentioned as one of their top returners. It's a name that's been around the Carlisle area for some time. I was saying to someone this week, and I'm going back many years now. It seems like there's always a Carruthers on the field for Carlisle, and it happens to be one of their best players this year. So we're going to hear that name quite a bit, I think, tonight.
Second down and 9 for the Cats. Apple in the gun. Single receiver to the left. Verdelli leading the way on a Noah Apple quarterback keeper. He's into the second level.
Should be a first down, yeah.
Close to the line to gain.
Yep.
He needed 8. He got 9, and the chains will move one more time. First down and 10 for the Wildcats at the 22-yard line.
That's one of those, those kind of a, I'll say a read option for lack of a better understanding on my own part. But there's a case where he pulled at it. Might have been by design, but at the end of the day, when you have a quarterback who can create that dimension, that puts so much pressure on the defense, right? You're trying to figure out, you got a wide formation. You got Dawson in the backfield. They've run the fullback underneath, and now you're going to give him a fifth thing to think about, and certainly Noah took advantage of it.
Apple handing off to Reese Miller. Miller working off a block from Colin Stair is met by a quartet of black jerseys. a gain of maybe 6 or 7 yards. It's going to bring up a second down and short. In on the tackle, Brian Hunter, among others.
Well, and that's the thing they're going to do here with this line, of course. It's not just drive down the field, right? You've got athletes. Colin Stairs a wrestler, right? He's a wrecking ball on the defensive side. You start to pull him, you start to put him in motion, you let him kick somebody out, you let him bury somebody at the second level. That creates all kinds of space for your running backs.
J.J. Gould, Landon Yales split right. Talon Verdelli, Jack DeLuca on the left. Apple is going to keep. He's going to be stopped at the line of scrimmage by Davion Baker. So 3rd and short for the Cats.
Yeah, it's a nice play call. Clearly, you've spread them out. You're trying to find that little gap in there. They're pinching, right? They're pinching tight from the defensive ends, and that guy technically is unblocked. He's that's part of the scheme. We're trying to get to the second level and pop that for a big one. And that's you might sit here and say, oh my gosh, what a play call in second down. That's the same as some teams will throw it deep at that point, right, and take advantage of that extra down, knowing you can come back now with your base offense and go get this first down.
A rapidly moving first quarter, as Drake Dawson will carry, turning the corner, picking up the first down. The chains will move, making it 1st and goal for the Cats. Carter Wilson, part of the tackling crew for the Thundering Herd.
And the other thing to keep in mind early in the season, right, we don't know everything about our specialists, right? And so, we know in the age of analytics, even if they're not using them as much at the high school level, they're still following it, and they're looking and saying, we're going to use our 4th downs more. So that's a particular case where who knows what they were going to do on 4th down. I don't know that it was an automatic field goal attempt this early in the season. Obviously, the coaches know what they have in terms of their specialists.
We have a flag. Illegal substitution is going to be the call. So that'll back the Cats up 5 yards. Take this opportunity to remind fans that the Mechanicsburg Music Alliance, along with U.S. Bands, invites you to be part of the 27th Annual Music in the Park event. It's a band showcase Saturday, September 27th at Memorial Park. 2 collegiate bands, a handful of high school bands as well, including the Maroon Machine. Gates open at 5 p.m. at Memorial Park. The competition starts at 6 o'clock. Tickets $12 for adults, $8 for students. Tickets will also be available online soon and at the door at the day of the event. We'll see the Maroon Machine for the first time coming up in week 3 against Mifflin County, as the Wildcats will have 2 road games to start the season. A standard Friday night tonight to open, but next Saturday, Dave, not only is it a high noon kick on a Saturday, but a neutral site game. Mechanicsburg plays Palmyra, but Palmyra has some construction work at their facility, so we will be in Northern Lebanon territory, the high school campus of the Vikings, a beautiful facility there, and that'll be a 12 o'clock kick.
Yeah, Palmyra's been putting a lot of money into their athletic facilities. If you've been over there for field hockey or soccer or baseball, they've got some beautiful on-campus facilities, and now they're working on their downtown stadium.
J.J. Gould goes in motion. Drake Dawson takes the handoff. Dawson is going to be stopped short of the line to gain, and it looks like the Wildcats were actually able to avoid that. It was Carlisle able to avoid that illegal substitution. They called a timeout instead. So 2 timeouts on the board for the Herd. Cats with all 3, and it's 2nd and goal.
Yeah, it was kind of nice there to see Drake a little bit more in a more conventional I formation almost type of look, and he shot out of nowhere, and I thought he was going to blast that into the end zone. So now you've got him again behind a fullback or an H-back, and let's see what happens.
It's a quarterback keeper with Noah Apple, and Dave, I'm not sure that Noah had a good hold on the football, but regardless, he's into the end zone for the first score of 2025.
There we go. Well, there's a case where, again, anymore, it certainly wasn't the tush push or even a version of it, but that idea of the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, and to take it back and hand it off 6 yards deep in the backfield and have to gain 6 yards, if you will, against penetration doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and that seems to be the trend right now in all levels of football. Just get that ball the shortest distance, get it in the end zone.
Tanner Minnick with the extra point. The kick is up, and it is good. 3:24 remaining in quarter number 1. Mechanicsburg 7, Carlisle nothing. Back after this, live on Go Mechanicsburg.
Hey there, Wildcat
Locally
fans.
owned and
It's Mike
operated,
Garland,
11
voice
Oaks
of Wildcat
Farms raises
Athletics.
Wagyu
And that
beef
map
and heritage breed pork right here in Newville, Pennsylvania. Our low-stress practices and carefully designed diets produce some of the finest meats you will ever experience. We also offer a selection of quality Angus beef, pork, chicken, seasonings, sauces, pantry items, and much more. Shop online at 11oaksfarms.com. Visit us in-store at 34 North Corporation Street in Newville or call 717-360-8249.
Getting you back to Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics, presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville. Live on Go Mechanicsburg.
Back at Ken Millen Stadium, Mike Garland, Dave Harrison, I'm hanging out in the Members First Federal Credit Union broadcast booth, and Dave is as well. We are on the east side of Ken Millen Stadium, and you know how I know that, fans? Because the sun is staring us in the eye. There it is, high in the sky, but really like eye level as we look across the stadium. Happy to be here, happy to call week one of high school football as that kick is short and fielded by the Thundering Herd near the 30-yard line. Leading the way for the catch, Drew Freeland.
Well, what you don't know on a short kicks like that is what is by design, and that seemed to be a little bit of a pop-up by design. Special teams, especially anymore with only one scrimmage, shortened preseason practices, you just can't simulate a kickoff no matter how many weeks of practice you have. And we know from last year, in the last 2 years, you can give up some big plays there, and that really takes the momentum away from everything your offense and defense have done. So popping it up and just getting down and covering is a safe bet, and they're still 70 yards from where they're trying to get to.
Will Smith is in the shotgun, and it's a quick pitch to Mikel Hakeem. That likely is considered a pass, a pop pass, if you will, and he is stopped in the backfield. Drake Dawson
and he
in
was
the vicinity.
He was double-teamed, right? He was double-teamed. He read it, he saw it, he came right off the blocks and made a great play 4 yards deep in the backfield.
Second down and 13 following that loss of 3. So Will Smith, one more time, senior quarterback in the gun. Single back to his right looks to be Curtis Stroud. And a flag. And Mechanicsburg pointing the way of Carlisle. And the Wildcat fans do agree. So 2nd and 13 becomes 2nd and 18.
Yeah, week one, honestly, every coach will tell you, turnovers and penalties. I mean, more than any other game, week one, if who wins those two battles is typically who's going to win the game. And I know that trend holds the rest of the season, but especially week one, because it is, again, so hard to simulate the focus, the exactness that is necessary. In a scrimmage, sometimes coach says, hey, let's line this back up and let's work on this again. The stakes just aren't as high. They are tonight, and the mistakes get maximized.
Smith in the gun, Stroud sidecar right, 2 receivers to the left. Smith rolling to his right. Dawson grabs a jersey and pulls him down. A loss of 2 more. 2 big defensive plays on this series for the senior Drake Dawson.
Yeah, they went with a tight end wing to the near side, which is the short side of the field, although it's the dominant arm of the quarterback. Rolled out, not a lot of room to work with, really, to be honest with you, and the catch flowed well in coverage. Quarterback could never really get his arm set because of the pressure, but I don't think he had much there.
3rd down and 22 as the Carlisle marching band comes to life with smoke on the water, and I do see fire in the sky. It sees me as well. High shotgun snap. Stroud takes the pitch, tries to stretch it left, and he is going to be tackled near the line of scrimmage by J.J. Gould. It's going to bring up a 4th down and long, not quite as long, but 4th down and long.
Well, that's one of those things. Coach Hacker talked a little bit about it. They had some games last year where they had a nice margin, and they were able to get so many player snaps. J.J. Gould was very valuable to them last year, but he got a lot of snaps. For a guy who was not a regular go-to player, he played a lot of roles, but he got a lot of snaps, and so he is ready to step up and I think step out, and he's maybe not one of the biggest names you hear coming back. When you think of Noah Apple, you think of Jack Luke, you think of Drake Dawson, but I think J.J. Gould's going to be somebody we're going to talk quite a bit about.
Hakim's punt is going to hit at the 40, take a very favorable Carlisle bounce near the 25-yard line. And Coach Heckert and I talked about that during Coach's Corner, the fact that so many players had the opportunity to see time last year. I mean, the Wildcats outscored their opponents last season, Dave, 438 to 151, averaging 36.5 points a game. And so many times from at least halftime on, you had your 2s and 3s seeing significant playing time.
Well, and when Friday night is Friday night, there are no meaningless snaps on Friday night. Now, as a starter, there may be meaningless snaps. You get them off the field in the 3rd and 4th. But if you're a young kid with those lights and the crowd, it's not a JV game. It's not a practice. It's not a scrimmage. And you just got to get out there to get experience. And we had so many kids get that last year.
Reese Miller stands off the right hip of Noah Apple, and there's going to be a penalty, a motion against Landon Yale. He took off just a hair too early. The Wildcat Foundation would like to welcome students, teachers, and district families back to school for the 2025-2026 academic year. The Wildcat Foundation has awarded more than $87,000 in grant funds to more than 20 district programs for this school year, as well as $43,000 in scholarship funds to seniors for the class of 2025 as they start their college journey. Carlisle calls a timeout. Dave, you've been part of many great Wildcat Foundation outings. I don't know for sure, but I suspect you were part of their golf outing a week or two ago. They do some great things for the district, and if you can help out, and I don't mean you specifically, you, the audience, support the Wildcat Foundation. It's a great cause.
Yeah, there's a lot of little ways to help out. It doesn't, maybe you don't play golf, but whether it's silent auction or there's certainly a banquet casino night concept in the winter months, which also has usually a silent auction. Obviously, there's simple donations as well. It doesn't take a whole lot to make a big difference.
Another timeout called by the Carlisle Thundering Herd. So down 7-0. Head coach Brandon Cook has used his second timeout of the half here in this first quarter. 51 seconds remaining as the Cats have the ball first down and 10. And it looks like that timeout came before the false start against Landon Yale. So Reese Miller takes the handoff, gets just past the line of scrimmage. Tackle made by Nathan Carruthers.
Yeah, a couple points. You remember the first punt we talked about J.J. Gould fielding it, and he only got a couple yards upfield, but that fielding it made all the difference, as we said. And there's one, I know he was tempted to catch that over his shoulder, but every coach on the sidelines going, no, let it go. But as we saw, then there was about a 20-yard roll. So, great play on it the first time, just a nice kick the second time. But those little things there are the kind of things that also make a difference and have an impact on how the game unfolds.
Second down and 7, about 15 seconds remaining in quarter number 1. Should be the final play of the quarter. Noah Apple on the quarterback keeper following the block from Reese Miller through the second level. And somewhere that buzzer, I'm pretty confident, is part of our score interface, and I don't know how that just got on the air, but I don't ever want that to happen again. How do I fix that?
I thought it was the quarter. I looked up, and it turns out there's 6.6 seconds left. There it is.
It's still going off. I got to text somebody about that. I think Ryan Hartman's working the score interface. I got to text him and tell him to turn that nonsense off. We're going to take a break. It's the end of the first quarter. Mechanicsburg 7, Carlisle nothing. Back after this live on Go Mechanicsburg.
Does your property need a little TLC? Call Lawnscapes Inc. of Mechanicsburg today at 717-697-1833 and see how Wes Moret and his team can transform or maintain your residential or commercial property. From hardscapes to yard services of all types, tree and shrub service and more, this locally owned and operated business has you covered. Call today for your free estimate. Lawnscapes Inc. at 717-697-1833. That's 717-697-1833.
We are dedicated to serving our members, associates, and communities because they give us purpose. We know we are stronger when we come together as one. We believe financial literacy is a key tool for personal well-being, economic stability, and a more secure financial future for everyone. And we are committed to providing all with access to financial wellness resources. We strive to deliver unparalleled experiences for our members through every moment and milestone. We are built by will, forged by people, and powered by a proud member experience.
Getting you back to Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics, presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville. Live on Go Mechanicsburg.
Back to Ken Millen Stadium. Mike Garland and Dave Harris live from the Members First Federal Credit Union broadcast booth. We think we've fixed that sound. Reese Miller takes the handoff, met at the line of scrimmage, gains 2, maybe 3 yards. And the tackle for the Carlisle Thundering Herd, again, Nathan Carruthers, 6'3", 290 pounds, a big force up front for Brandon Cook. Quick hitter for the Cats. Miller will move the chains this time around with a run into plus territory and across the 50. We'll look at it one more time.
Yeah, going kind of with the I don't even call it a no huddle because they don't always huddle, but that was the first time we saw them get lined right up on the ball as quickly as they have all night. He comes right back to Miller, and of course he's been running hard all night, but he coming back. The defense is kind of resting a little bit. They're maybe a little bit tired. It is hot. It's been a cooler week, and the Cats taking advantage of it, coming right back out, quick snap, and he got to the second level fast.
Jack DeLuca, who we've only heard from once tonight, splits right. Talon Verdelli and Landon Yale go left. Apple takes the snap, hands to Reese Miller, and he slips right at the feet of Talon Verdelli. And, of course, Talon Verdelli scored a touchdown last year at Mifflin County on an interception. Kind of a look at what I found and took it to the house, and now he's a starter. And, you know, great things happen here. I think back to when we were here in the 2022 season. That is when Justin Bardo intercepted a pass in the end zone to our right and took it the distance. So we're seeing some good things from some young players here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you talked earlier about only hearing DeLuca's name one time. Your strength is your line. You do have a first-time starter at quarterback. You now have a lead. It's probably not going to be a pass-heavy offense all season if it doesn't have to be, and it certainly isn't going to be coming out of the gate. Although, as I say that, we see them come right to DeLuca.
Noah Apple's pass complete to Jack DeLuca, and the chains are going to move. Khalil Jackson with the tackle, the 5'5", 130-pound junior. The chains will move. First down and 10 here in the second quarter.
Yeah, the Cats have, we're not tracking it very, very closely here, but they've had a good number of first downs, obviously on their first scoring drive and now on this drive. And that's the stuff that's sometimes hard to get. You see the scores afterwards. You can watch Friday Night Football later tonight, and you'll see the scores. But there's going to be a lot of big plays. There are going to be a lot of pick sixes and kick returns. That's the kind of stuff you tend to have first week. But the Cats are doing it methodically, and I think that's going to feel really good for the Mechanicsburg coaching staff.
Dylan Taylor, the fullback, as Noah Apple drops back, throws off his back foot, looking for J.J. Gould, and the pass through Gould's hands and incomplete near the 5-yard line. And that was one that Gould would love to have back.
We have a flag over here, and it was pre-snap, I think, so I'm not sure if that was going to stick anyway. Although he made a nice adjustment on the ball, got one mid on it, and I thought he was going to pull it in. Unfortunately did not, but I think this is coming back anyway.
Got a text from Marble Street. Apparently only we could hear that buzzer. So if you think we're crazy talking about something you didn't hear, well, we just might be. The score interface that we use, you see a different look this year. It's been updated. There is a buzzer end of quarter feature, and I think our score interface manager hit it. We could hear it. You couldn't. We'll never talk about it again.
Fair enough.
Never happened. Second down and 15. Dylan Taylor, again, leading the way for Drake Dawson, who gets across the 40 to the 39.
So they got second and 15 on the board, and we saw a flag, but where the ball is sitting is 10 yards to gain.
Now 9. Looks like third and 9 to me, but who am I to argue? Math was never a strong suit.
Bottom line is it's a passing down.
Sun's in my eyes?
Although, could be 4-down territory, so you don't necessarily have to go get all 10 here, depending on what they do. But they've got them spread out wide and shotgun look.
3 wide receivers to the right for Noah Apple. Drake Dawson, the single back in the backfield. Dawson open in the flat. Catches it uncontested, but met at about the 38-yard line. Had he been able to break that one tackle by way of Davion Baker, he may have picked up the first down, but instead it's going to be 4th down and 8 as the offense stays on the field.
Yeah, with where they're on the field, obviously, clearly, I think they'd like to pick up a little more than 2 or 3 yards that they got, but it is one of those situations where obviously you're certainly not in field goal range, and you really don't want to punt it back if you don't have to. Although this is where you could also get one of those little squib punts too. We've seen that quite a bit the last few seasons.
4 receivers for the Cats. Dawson to the right of Noah Apple. 3-step drop for Noah, rolling to his right, steps up, pump fake, keeps it. Noah Apple's going to move the chains on his feet and score 6 for the Cats from 37 out. Touchdown, Wildcats.
I'll tell you what, so they're all spread out, trips right, spread left, and the pump fake is really what set that up. And we talked a little bit about it. I said we got an athlete here in Noah Apple. I talked about his basketball prowess, watching him play some defense on some good players last year, showed me his footwork and his mental toughness. Obviously, he's not Eli Ryder yet. Eli had 2 great seasons, but boy, oh boy, it feels pretty good if you're the coach and you go, okay, we got a little something here we can work with.
And that's a great way to convert 4th down and long. A 37-yard quarterback keeper, Minnick, extra point, pops it up and threw out of the hold of Noah Apple. So with 8:17 remaining in the first half, Mechanicsburg 14, Carlisle nothing. Back after this, live on Go Mechanicsburg.
OSS Health is physician-owned and operated. We're able to help patients in a way that others cannot.
We're not looking at a number.
Everyone's looking out for the best thing for the patient.
Seeing that they're reaching their goals, making the community as healthy as possible.
What I love most is when I get to see them get back to the activity that they love.
When I see a patient smiling, it makes it all worth it. I love my job.
Getting you back to Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics, presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville. Live on Go Mechanicsburg.
Back at Ken Millen Stadium in the Members First Federal Credit Union broadcast booth, Mike Garland, Dave Harris, the Cats leading 14-0 on a pair of touchdowns from Noah Apple. One from 37 yards out and another from just a measly 1 yard out, but they all count the same. And the squib kick by Lucas Mikulich is going to be down by the herd at the 29-yard line. So Carlisle gets another go at it here. This team that we talked about, 1-9 last year, losing almost all their games, I should say, winning right at the end against Altoona. And you were right. Altoona took Bishop McDevitt down to the wire, like a one-score game against that same McDevitt team that ended up winning a state championship.
Well, I think more than a lot of sports, football's one where, clearly a big margin of defeat is a big margin of defeat. 9 losses is 9 losses, but it's real easy if you don't know the opponents and you don't know the quality of the league or the quality of the schedule. It's real easy to write someone off as not competitive, and that's just inaccurate.
Carlisle was actually competitive looking at their schedule top to bottom last year. A busted play as Will Smith keeps to his left and is actually going to pick up about 6 yards. He went to hand it off one way, and his back just wasn't there as he's tackled into the Wildcat bench.
Yeah, it looked like we came in a little late. Of course, we can't see the sideline. We're a pretty good distance from it here with it's one of these stadiums with a track between the field and the stands. So I was a little nervous there we were going to get a late hit, and it would have been hard to complain about it if we did.
2nd down and 4 for the Thundering Herd. Coming up at halftime, we'll check in with our friends at Operation Wildcat. And again, a reminder, Wildcat fans, next Saturday, high noon at Northern Lebanon High School against Palmyra. We'll be on the air at about 11:10 a.m. Ben Shad will join me. It's a running play on 2nd and medium as Brian Hunter is going to be tackled, it looks like, either for no gain or maybe a loss of 1.
So we've kind of broken record here. We ran off a 10-0 regular season last year, right? And here we sit week 1, and we're at this 14-0 halfway through the first quarter. And if you're Carlisle, you're at almost make or break. You can't get down to 21 points with the kind of offense they're running. You just can't. And Mechanicsburg really hasn't been stopped yet. They've had they're not perfect. They've made some mistakes, but they have found their way down the field twice. So if you're Carlisle, this is a big play here on 3rd and 5.
3rd down and 5. Will Smith in the gun, single back to his right. That's Curtis Stroud. The lefty throws complete to Hakeem, and Hakeem's going to pick up the 1st down and then some, a gain of about 25 yards as Michael Hakeem is pushed out near the 50.
Well, that's the biggest play to this point in the game for Carlisle, clearly, in terms of not just yardage, but in terms of its stature, because you give it back to Mechanicsburg at that point, and you may go in at halftime down 3 scores. And that's not to say that won't still happen, but now they've got new life. They're just approaching midfield with a fresh set of downs, and we're going to see if this is going to become a game or not.
Smith in the gun, 1st and 10 from the 48-yard line, looking to get into plus territory. Hands to Stroud in the backfield, and he is going to be gobbled up near the line of scrimmage. That was Dylan Taylor with the tackle. The ball had popped loose, but the officials say that he was down before that happened.
Yeah, no, he was clearly down, and Carlisle, we'll see. They'll get going. It's hard coming right out to click on all cylinders. Again, the days of 2 and 3 scrimmages are over, and this is only the 2nd time you've gone against somebody in a different colored jersey. So, they're working out some kinks. They're not shooting themselves in the foot a lot. Not excessive penalties, not excessive turnovers at this point. And they're going to try to make something here as they're at midfield.
Smith in the gun, single man in motion. Davion Baker. That's Stroud on the carry. Stroud into the 2nd level, breaks a tackle, and Stroud is going to go the distance. 51 yards for Carlisle's first score of the season.
Well, Coach Eckerd's going to be sick, going to be absolutely sick. Gang tackled, had him stopped for, a 2-3 yard gain. Nobody finished. And you need people from that 2nd and 3rd level coming in and cleaning up the pile. And, it just didn't happen, and he escaped the clasp. So now you've got a game.
And you look at him right there. Through 2 or 3 Wildcat would-be tacklers. We bring you back to live action.
Yeah, there were some players there at the second and third level who need to come in and clean that up. You play to the whistle. You got to play to the whistle, and that needed finishing. The line did their job, and people have got to come in and gang tackle, and as the coaches like to say, 11 hats on the ball.
Michael Hakeem in to attempt the extra point. He had the big catch to get Carlisle into plus territory. He's an athlete. He catches, he kicks, he tackles, and with 6:23 remaining in the first half, we've got a ball game. Mechanicsburg 14, Carlisle 7. We're going to take a break. Back after this, live on Go Mechanicsburg.
At Bobby Ray Hall, it's about doing the right thing, starting with our vision that clients deserve great service at a fair price. We understand this can only happen with great team members. Doing what's right includes supporting local charities, youth sports, and first responders. It extends to the environment and why we reclaim rainwater for car washes and recycle used oil. We want to thank our loyal clients for recognizing us by voting Bobby Ray Hall simply the best of Harrisburg for 21 years in a row. Experience the Bobby Ray Hall difference and find out more at BobbyRayHall.com.
Getting you back to Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics, presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville. Live on Go Mechanicsburg.
The bright, glowing orb in the sky is about to dip down behind the tree line. Things will look better in the second half, but right now it is bright and intrusive.
Well, here we go. 6 minutes left, and Carlisle's going to get the ball after halftime. So if you're Mechanicsburg, this is a big possession here. Again, see if you can get back to that 2-score lead, because if you don't, and all of a sudden Carlisle has the ball to start the second half.
Grady Weaver brings the kick into plus territory. It was a short kick by the Herd, and Weaver pretty much did it all. He worked off a couple of blocks, then went wide and takes it into plus territory. First down and 10 for the Mechanicsburg Wildcats.
Yeah, Grady's not a name we talked much about last year, right? But I know he's had some great success on the baseball diamond, and he's been a very key player there for Coach McAllister's team. And so you can see his confidence, you see his athleticism, and they're the kind of players that, you don't, if you noticed, Coach Hecker didn't list newcomers because he's curious who's going to emerge. We know a few players. We know what we can get out of Colin Stair and even and Jack DeLuca, but what do we got out of some of these other guys?
Noah Apple steps up in the pocket under pressure, tiptoes the sideline, and steps out of bounds in front of Nathan Carruthers, and that is a path of least resistance type of situation. It's you and Carruthers and the sideline.
Well, what we're seeing out of Noah Apple tonight is some impressive athleticism. Obviously, we saw speed, but even the pump fake on the very first pass with then some touch to Jack DeLuca. Obviously, that run there, tightrope in the sideline. Just a very good all-around athlete, and it's going to be fun to watch him this season, I believe.
Second down and 4 for the Cats. Reese Miller takes the handoff. Miller working off a block from Ryan Foose, still on his feet. A bullish run will move the chains, bringing up first down and 10 near the 20-yard line.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's been fun to watch. He's not the biggest back in the backfield, but he in essence is kind of I'll say the fullback, the quick hitter kind of back, and he runs very bullish and does not quit. Keeps those legs going, keeps his shoulders square, and made a big play there once he got to the second level, broke a number of tackles.
Well, and it's great to see what Coach Heckert is doing here in 2025 with a new roster of players. And another big run for the Cats is going to move the chains.
Well, he gets to the third level there, and of course, as I said, he runs bigger than his physical size, and yet at the same time, no D-back in the world wants to take him on in that fashion. But I do think we have a flag down, and we're going to see this one come back.
The officials are going to talk about it. And a hold call against the Wildcats. .5:29 remaining, first half. 14-7 Mechanicsburg. Following the penalty, it's first down and 20. Apple with a screen, complete to Miller. He's got wide open spaces in the middle, picks up the first down, gets the penalty yardage back and then some. It's going to be first down and goal for the Wildcats.
Well, again, back to the play call there, Coach Rubinick, and I know, again, Coach Akel working with him, and he certainly was his coach in school. The screen pass, it didn't look pretty the first time, right? We saw the big loss. Noah Apple smartly ate the ball, but there he was patient, set his feet, the timing was there, and here we are.
We got another touchdown.
Draw.
Noah Apple with the trifecta. He comes in from a handful of yards out. And a flag on the play.
Hard to know if that is a dead ball foul after the play, because it didn't seem like it was during the play, but I can't say I watched the whole way through.
So we'll wait for the official call from Charlie Johnson. But the third TD of the night for Noah Apple. And here comes that call as Mr. Johnson will approach the Carlisle bench.
Dead ball foul penalty on Mechanicsburg. It looks like touchdown counts.
And they'll assess it on the kickoff.
I believe so.
So awaiting the extra point, Noah Apple the holder, Minnick the kicker, the snap the hold, the kick is up, end over end and through. So the Cats extend the lead back out to 2 scores, 5:13 remaining in the first half. It's Mechanicsburg 21, Carlisle 7. We're going to take a break. Be back after this, live on Go Mechanicsburg.
The Turnbridge Group at RBC Wealth Management is a proud supporter of Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics. When faced with tough business and personal financial decisions, turn to the Turnbridge Group. With a focus on retirement planning and complex financial situations, the team helps you define and achieve your goals, all while building a strong and caring relationship with you and your family. Financial advisors Tim Engel, Jonathan Stow, and Nick Hansen are available for your call. The Turnbridge Group, part of the community and for the community. Visit them online at turnbridgegroup.com or call 717-724-4225 today.
Getting you back to Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics, presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville. Live on Go Mechanicsburg.
Back at Ken Millen Stadium, Mike Garland, Dave Harris, we're hanging out in the Members First Federal Credit Union broadcast booth, and we will have that penalty enforced on this kickoff, as Michelich will be teeing it up from the 25-yard line. So that should put Carlisle in a nice spot here for what should be their final offensive possession of the first half.
Again, we've been talking about big possessions offensively when we talk Mechanicsburg, but now it's a big defensive possession, because at this particular time, again, you want to keep them out of the end zone here before they get the ball to start the second half.
That kick is fielded at the 40-yard line. And that was a big hit by the Cats and Donnie Despines. And on that return for the Thundering Herd was Curtis Stroud.
Yeah, I thought I saw 33 in on that hit, too. I don't know that young man yet. Caleb Goss, looks like a sophomore, was in on that play as well.
So Carlisle will have the ball. First down and 10, 5:07 remaining in this first half.
It always interesting to look at the personnel and whatnot. I see, I was talking again about Noah Apple being a very good D-back for us in the past, and I think he'd be a very good one now. But, as a coach, you sometimes try to play as much two-platoon as you can, where you can, if you've got the horses to do so. And so Noah is not playing in the secondary at this point.
Stroud with the handoff. Jack DeLuca with the tackle, a loss of 3. It's going to bring up a second down and 13 from about the 46-yard line.
Well, again, quickness was a signature last year. It was really hard to go sideline to sideline on the Cats, and I think Carlisle's seeing that. But Carlisle has had some success coming up through the middle, and sometimes that's the key, right? You got to go at the strength. If the strength is a line, you got to go at them. You can't run away from them, because that's where their speed and athleticism comes into play. And we've seen Colin Stair and others on his front line mates string these plays out tonight so far.
Smith takes the shotgun snap. It's an inside reverse. The quick pitch to Davion Baker, and Colin Stair meets him at the line of scrimmage. A nice defensive stop by Stair, busting up that trickeration, and a loss of 2.
Yeah, it's kind of the counter crisscross concept, double handoff underneath. And obviously, it seems like they were well coached. They saw a key, whether it was the guard's footwork or whether it was the actual double handoff itself. But they were sitting there waiting on it, and the play never had a chance.
3rd down and 14. 3:48 remaining. And remember, Carlisle has just 1 timeout. They used 2 of them in the first quarter. Smith fakes the handoff, rolls to his left, dips under Colin Stair, but he is met at the line of scrimmage by Aiden Reed, 5'11", 265.
Well, the nice thing there, too, is Aiden Reed does get the sack and deserves the credit, and he should be celebrating as he is, but Colin Stair helps make that play, right, by coming upfield and forcing that quarterback completely inside. He keeps the contain and sets up the pressure, the sack.
Timeout Mechanicsburg. Will take this opportunity to step out for a quick 30 seconds. Back after this, live on Go Mechanicsburg.
I needed a change in my life. I wanted to be closer to my grandchildren. I was not hearing what the kids were saying. I fly hot air balloons and I couldn't hear leaks. It was time to take care of my hearing. As soon as I met Mary Ann at Renewed Hearing Solutions, she made me feel so comfortable. My life has improved so much since I got hearing aids. It was the best thing I've ever done. I would highly recommend Renewed Hearing Solutions.
Get back in the conversation. Call Renewed Hearing Solutions today.
Getting you back to Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics, presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville. Live on Go Mechanicsburg.
Following the Wildcat timeout, it's going to be 4th down and 14 for the Thundering Herd, and what I thought would be the final possession for Carlisle. I didn't know that it would go this quickly. I thought maybe they'd manage it down either to run the clock out or get some points. Now you're going to put the ball back in the Wildcat hands with 2 timeouts and a chance to maybe put some more points on the board.
Well, I don't think Carlisle had anything to do with that, right? That was all mechanics.
Great
dictating
defense.
that, and again, good clock management, calling that timeout there on the 4th down, and now barely gets that off.
I don't know how that punt wasn't blocked. It's high, and it's going to hit at the 40, take a Mechanicsburg bounce, and it's going to be downed at about the 43-yard line by Jaden Shea, the 6'2", 235 senior.
Well, you got over 3 minutes. You got 2 timeouts, and you got less than 60 yards. And again, we don't have we talk about a Josh Smith where you can score from anywhere on the field, and we know that drew attention and took it away from others. But I think there's enough potency out there on this offense. I think we've only just seen the beginning of it. Obviously, they're holding as much back as they probably can until they get a feel for what works and what do they actually have to use tonight. What are they not ready for? But this will be interesting to see what we see in these last 3 minutes here.
1st down and 10 for the Cats. The ball on their own 43-yard line. Want to thank you for tuning in live on Go Mechanicsburg. Noah Apple in the shotgun. Quick hitter Jack DeLuca. DeLuca with a move. Picks up the 1st down and then some. Jack DeLuca back across the field. Could Jack DeLuca go the distance? 57 yards if he does. Touchdown, Wildcats.
All with his eyes, too. I mean, he got that ball. That ball only traveled a few yards in the air, but he made cuts. He ran with his eyes. I don't even know that he really, I would say set up blocks, but he really just took angles away from people with what he saw and took advantage of it.
And give that touchdown, of course. DeLuca did what he did, but go back to that previous possession. I talked about what Carlisle didn't do, but you are more accurate. It's about what the Mechanicsburg defense did do. They stopped the herd, they got the ball back, and they set up an opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, clearly, a lot of high school offenses, and certainly Carlisle's is
Mechanicsburg going for 2. Apple lobs it into the end zone, and DeLuca will convert on the 2-point conversion. Interesting that the Cats did that, but nevertheless, the conversion is good.
Yeah, no, just to finish up that thought process a little bit, a lot of high school offenses aren't built to come from behind from 2 or 3 scores, and clearly we knew Carlisle had a 3-quarterback competition. That doesn't speak very well to that. They didn't have a lot coming back in terms of the passing game and yardage coming back. So, they do what they had to do, a little trickery, but the Cats blew it up a couple times.
So the Cats will kick off, leading 29-7, 2:52 remaining in this first half. Wildcat Athletics would like to recognize the Mechanicsburg Area Recreation Department for their continued support of our web streams. With the Recreation Department here in Mechanicsburg, you can immerse yourself in a world of excitement and discovery, creative crafts, dance, fitness opportunities, family fun, and more. They offer a little bit of something for everybody, so don't miss out on a fantastic experience that can inspire, enrich, and bring the community together. Visit mbgsd.org or download the new district app. Navigate your way to the recreation page for more details. Nikolic will kick it off end over end. It's going to hit at about the 20 and scoot past the returner Stroud. And he is in trouble. He's going to be tripped up by Daniel Kurtz, and there's a flag on the play as well.
That seemed to be a little bit behind the play. I don't know if it was a block in the back or a hold. It didn't seem to be anything cheap around the ball, but I could be wrong about that.
So we'll wait for the call. It's either going to be 1st and 10 Carlisle from deep in their own territory or 1st and 10 Carlisle a little bit further up. A block in the back Carlisle, so that is going to put them deep in a hole with 2:47 remaining. And right now, if you're head coach Brandon Cook, you just don't want to give Mechanicsburg the ball back.
And down here, right, if you're Coach Eckert, you're thinking about dialing up a little something here for maybe a defensive score here and make this in even closer to being a wrapped-up game at the halftime.
So it's going to be a half the distance to the goal penalty for the Thundering Herd.
The Cats have 2 timeouts, so you almost think if you hold them to no gain or negative yardage, you almost maybe bang a timeout on first down, keep some of this clock, don't let them run it down, because if you're right, if Cook has his way, he just wants to get the heck out of here.
Cook in the gun, and the handoff. The ball is loose, according to the crowd to our right, but it's going to remain Carlisle football.
So where I wonder about taking a timeout here, I mean, again, I respect Coach Eckert a lot, and certainly the concept of I hate to use the word sportsmanship here because I don't think it's bad sportsmanship to take a timeout, but maybe he's thinking after second down he'll take this timeout. I just think he'd like to tack one more on if he could.
No, if you can. So you're trying things.
Well, you got to have a football to go, and you are. Once you get to the mercy rule, you sometimes look at things a little differently. We're certainly not there yet, and we're actually 2 scores from being there. So I think my point is trying to get one here. I just, as a result, looking to see if you can get a minute back right there.
And a whistle. Will we have a timeout taken? And we do. It's the final timeout of the quarter taken by Carlisle. We'll keep it right here one more time. And remind you fans that fall sports are here. Field hockey played yesterday, football tonight, and a whole bunch of Wildcat sports coming up in the coming weeks. And Shaggy Chic Dog Grooming in Mechanicsburg is cheering on our hometown teams while athletes hit the field. Let your dog be the MVP at home. Call Shaggy Chic Dog Grooming today, 717-919-6266, or stop by 16 South Market Street in Mechanicsburg. Shaggy Chic Dog Grooming, where every pet looks like a champion. Go Wildcats. Dave, I know you've got a cute little puppy at home. Consider Shaggy Chic Dog Grooming?
I was just thinking as you started reading it, I'm going, I really should be paying attention to this advertisement. Yes. We're starting anew there in the Harris household. So.
Charlotte the dog is adorable.
She's a good one. We're happy to have her.
So following the Carlisle timeout, it's going to be 2nd down and 9 with 1:56 remaining. Cats up 29-7, and a run for the Thundering Herd. And I'll tell you what, no quit in the Herd, despite what you've seen over the last 2 seasons and despite the score tonight. That was another bullish run by Curtis Stroud. And these Thundering Herd players, they keep those legs churning. They play hard.
Well, they do. And if you go back to that touchdown, that 51-yard touchdown, I mean, that's all heart. That's all desire, right? When you're in the weight room in the winter, when you're in summer camp, when you're doing those things, because not everything is a design. Not everything happens by design. Not everything happens according to design. At the end of the day, it comes down to the quality of the athletes, their character, and their effort. And that was on a 100% effort kind of play because the Cats had it stopped by all accounts, and he just finished it and took care of his business.
I'm following a community page on Facebook, and I saw a lot of chatter in the offseason from Carlisle people, and it was about what the team has been over the last 2 years, and alumni, former players, friends of the program encouraging kids to get into the weight room. You don't just win and lose on Friday nights because of what you do from that second week in August until October. It's what you do when October ends until you get to that second week of August.
Yeah, share a little bit of something on that after this play. We'll see what we have here.
3rd down and 5, a handoff goes nowhere as Drew Freeland makes the tackle, and a timeout should be taken by the Cats.
It is indeed. So, yeah, just back to that, you don't always do stuff right away. Obviously, you hope to be playing in November, right? Playoff time. And you need a little time off. The body does need the rest. You have kids you want playing basketball. You have football players you want them wrestling. Spring you want days as well. But there's still time to work out. There's still time to build the body, to build the muscle, to add the speed. And, really, in essence, you almost have 10 months from your last game till your next game. And so, we used to talk a little bit about, you got a game a month that you're working on. And you got to look at it as, January is your first game, February is your second game, March your third game, et cetera, because you're exactly right, Mike. That's where it gets done. Camp puts it all together, right? And then you got to execute. But execution without all of that work, whether it's endurance, whether it's the build-up in the weight room, it's just not going to translate over 4 quarters.
Getting ready for this punt by the Thundering Herd, Michael Hakeem going back. And looks to be J.J. Gould standing at his own 42-yard line. So Cats won't have any timeouts after they get this ball back, but maybe you bring the house, try to block the punt. Maybe there's a high snap, and that's exactly what you have, and 2 points for the road team.
Yeah, that's the stuff that you just hate as a coach. Carlisle first game, probably a new long snapper, clearly. You just don't want to be in that situation, but if you're Coach Eckert, that's why you use the timeouts. You got to execute. Everybody's got to execute. Both teams, 10 games, full games. You got to execute. So good play there. Gets them another 2 points, and they're going to still get the ball back with about 1:30 left.
So the Cats pick up 2, 31-7, and like you said, you get the ball back with an opportunity to do something. Now Carlisle will start the second half with possession, but if the Cats can put some more points on the board, it's going to be a pretty quick second half.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're Coach Eckert, you don't want a scoreboard watch. You'd love to get to that point and get some other guys in, get some of your starters out. You got a long season in front of you, right? You hope to be playing, 11, 12, 13 games at least. You don't know. You don't know at this point in the season, but you'd like to get that. At the same token, you still got to take care of some business here. Carlisle's not going to lay down. They're going to keep playing hard, and you got to execute here a little bit, whether it's here at the end of the quarter or come out and play defense and get the ball back and do something in the third quarter.
So the free kick forthcoming by the Thundering Herd, and Michael Hakeem, pair of returners back for the Wildcats. Mechanicsburg essentially has their kickoff return team out there. A sideways punt is going to go out of bounds near about the 44-yard line, and because it is a kick after score, the same scoring applies in that now there's going to be a penalty because it went out of bounds. So you'll add 15, I believe, to the end of this, and the Cats, they're either going to make them re-kick.
I think they're going to make them re-kick.
Okay.
I think is what it looks like, yeah.
So you get another opportunity here. I want to thank our great Go Mechanicsburg web streaming crew. Ben Shad on camera, Ryan Hartman helping out, and we have a student helper who we will reveal next week. A student helper who is eager to learn the ins and outs of what we do here, and we're excited to have that. It's something that, Dave, this is our 6th year of doing this, and it's the first time a student has reached out and said, I want to get involved.
There we go. That's what it's all about. We have had students visit us in the press box last year at Mifflin County, if you recall.
Right.
But that was a different kind of involvement. That was just getting a little
face
time and air time, I think.
Yes. And as basketball season played out, it fit their personalities quite well. So that punt is now going to be fielded at midfield by the Cats, and J.J. Gould, who turns the corner, and J.J. Gould is going to be flung down, some pushing and shoving near midfield. No flag there, but a nice return by J.J. Gould, setting up a first down and 10, and the Cats are going to have the ball at about the 27-yard line.
Well, there's a kid, we just talked about what you do in the offseason. I do remember him doing some nice things last year, but I think he's got a burst of speed I don't seem to recall last year. Tonight, a couple times, he's gone side to side and stretched it out very successfully. So I'm sure he got some work in the offseason, whether that was in the weight room or on the track team or maybe a combination of the two.
This game was 14-7 at one point, but it's been all Mechanicsburg since.
Yeah, in essence, it's been that one play for Carlisle. I mean, they've had a few other decent gains, and they did move the sticks on at least one other occasion that I recall, but it was really that one play, the 51-yarder.
Noah Apple on the keeper, tackled by a trio of Thundering Herd players, including Nathan Carruthers.
No gain on the play, will be second down.
Second down and about 9. The PA said no gain, but the stick looks like it was a 1-yard gain. Apple, short drop, going far side left. Jack DeLuca, the pass is incomplete. And a nice job on the coverage there by the Carlisle secondary man. Looks to be Curtis Stratt.
They did, obviously 4 verticals, and Jack DeLuca got a little bit behind him. It was actually a very nice touch pass, probably a hair short of maybe where Apple would like to have put it, but well played by the Carlisle defender to take that away, or otherwise, Jack DeLuca is enough of an athlete to make something happen there. And almost did, even with the good defense.
1:03 remaining. Want to thank everybody tuning in tonight live on Go Mechanicsburg, the web stream presented by our friends at 11 Oaks Farms in Newville. And a reminder that later on in the year, if you're going to Waynesboro, make a point to pop off in Newville and visit our friends at 11 Oaks Farms, as that pass was intended for Reese Miller and just a little underthrown.
So that's that. We've sung a lot of praise for Noah Apple tonight, as we should have. He's had a great night. He's had a great first half. That one there again. The last 2 passes. That's experience, right? What'd you say? 7 passes last year?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't throw 7 passes in the season and come out and just have that kind of touch. He's going to get there. Neither of them were bad passes. They both were catchable, arguably, but he'll make those completions later in the season. I guarantee it.
So the Cats scored on the last 4th down attempt. Here they are, 4th down and 9, 58.7 seconds remaining. Apple scans the field. Across the middle, that pass is high. It was intended for Xavier Longenberger. Longenberger 6'1", 160, and he would have needed to be about 7 foot tall to corral that one.
Well, that was a good, let's be honest. As I said earlier, you build at the lines. We've got 3 offensive linemen back from last year. Clearly, we've shown we can run the ball with a number of different players, but we are going to have to throw the ball. And what better situation? It's relevant. It's first half, but you also got a 4-score lead, right? You got a 4-score lead, and really, obviously, if you're Coach Heckert, I think you're gonna like those when you go back and watch that film and say, these are the right plays, these are the right people. Now let's work on the little things and let's finish these.
So the Herd gets the ball back, 54.4 seconds remaining. We'll check in with our friends at Operation Wildcat coming up at halftime. We're talking Project Back to School this week with Leslie Collins. The shotgun snap and the subsequent run is Khalil Jackson, and he spins out and falls down. The Cats 10 games on the schedule this year, the first 2 on grass. I do believe that means the rest are on turf or a synthetic concoction of some sort.
Yep, no, I think you're right as I look at where the away games are versus the home games. And, when I look at these teams, now Shippensburg's at home, but they are getting a new turf field. I think that's the one team that Northern does not have a turf field yet, but we have them at home.
Right.
So I think you're correct. I think we'll have.
And Shippensburg's actually gone back to Memorial Park this year because they couldn't get the lights up in time to start football season.
At least to start, yeah. I don't know if that's how the season will finish for them. I think, at least the little bit I've heard, it seems like I think they're hoping to get in there at some point before the season's over, but who knows.
Final play of the first half is a run play and a tackle by Colin Stair. So as the teams head to the locker room, we're going to step out, check in with our friends at Operation Wildcat. Back in 15, live on Go Mechanicsburg.
We are dedicated to serving our members, associates, and communities because they give us purpose. We know we are stronger when we come together as one. We believe financial literacy is a key tool for personal well-being, economic stability, and a more secure financial future for everyone. And we are committed to providing all with access to financial wellness resources. We strive to deliver unparalleled experiences for our members through every moment and milestone. We are built by will, Forged by people and powered by a proud member experience.
Locally owned and operated, 11 Oaks Farms raises Wagyu beef and heritage breed pork right here in Newville, Pennsylvania. Our low-stress practices and carefully designed diets produce some of the finest meats you will ever experience. We also offer a selection of quality Angus beef, pork, chicken, seasonings, sauces, pantry items, and much more. Shop online at 11oaksfarms.com. Visit us in-store at 34 North Corporation Street in Newville or call 717-360-8249.
Does your property need a little TLC? Call Lawnscapes Inc. of Mechanicsburg today at 717-697-1833 and see how Wes Moret and his team can transform or maintain your residential or commercial property. From hardscapes to yard services of all types, tree and shrub surface and more, this locally owned and operated business has you covered. Call today for your free estimate. Lawnscapes Inc. at 717-697-1833. That's 717-697-1833.
OSS Health is physician-owned and operated. We're able to help patients in a way that others cannot.
We're not looking at a number.
Everyone's looking out for the best thing for the patient.
Seeing that they're reaching their goals, making the community as healthy as possible.
What I love most is when I get to see them get back to the activity that they love.
When I see a patient smiling, it makes it all worth it. I love my job.
Operation Wildcat is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to pool the resources in our community to help our school district students, families, and staff members in need. We'll take your new or gently used back-to-school items, bikes, books, clothing, dresses and suits, furniture, Halloween costumes, gifts for the holiday, Christmas tree decorations, pennies, socks, underwear, Thanksgiving food, toothbrushes and toothpaste, and yard sale items. Learn more at OperationWildcat.org and go Wildcats.
Elevate your everyday with the Mechanicsburg Area Recreation Department. Immerse yourself in a world of excitement and discovery. From adrenaline-pumping sports to serene outdoor escapes, we've got your perfect recreation blend. Join us for fitness, family fun, and fantastic experiences. Unleash your inner adventurer. It's time for a thrilling escape. Visit mbgsd.org and click on the Recreation tab. Or drop by your office at the Trails and Trees Environmental Center, Mechanicsburg Area Recreation, where every moment is a new adventure.
At Bobby Ray Hall, it's about doing the right thing, starting with our vision that clients deserve great service at a fair price. We understand this can only happen with great team members. Doing what's right includes supporting local charities, youth sports, and first responders. It extends to the environment and why we reclaim rainwater for car washes and recycle used oil. We want to thank our loyal clients for recognizing us by voting Bobby Ray Hall simply the best of Harrisburg for 21 years in a row. Experience the Bobby Ray Hall difference and find out more at BobbyRayHall.com.
The Turnbridge Group at RBC Wealth Management is a proud supporter of Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics. When faced with tough business and personal financial decisions, turn to the Turnbridge Group. With a focus on retirement planning and complex financial situations, the team helps you define and achieve your goals, all while building a strong and caring relationship with you and your family. Financial advisors Tim Engel, Jonathan Stow, and Nick Hansen are available for your call. The Turnbridge Group, part of the community and for the community. Visit them online at turnbridgegroup.com or call 717-724-4225 today.
I needed a change in my life. I wanted to be closer to my grandchildren. I was not hearing what the kids were saying. I fly hot air balloons and I couldn't hear leaks. It was time to take care of my hearing. As soon as I met Mary Ann at Renewed Hearing Solutions, she made me feel so comfortable. My life has improved so much since I got hearing aids. It was the best thing I've ever done. I would highly recommend Renewed Hearing Solutions.
Get back in the conversation. Call Renewed Hearing Solutions today.
Getting you back to Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics, presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville. Live on Go Mechanicsburg.
It is halftime on Go Mechanicsburg. Halftime, as always, presented by our friends at Operation Wildcat. And with it being back to school week, we're excited to be joined this week by Leslie Collins, who is going to talk with us about Project Back to School. Leslie, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's an exciting week with school back in and exciting time with first football games kicking off.
For sure, and we'll get you back to the Members First Federal Credit Union broadcast booth in just a bit. Dave Harris will rejoin me, but before he does so, let's talk about Project Back to School. As we both said, the kids have been back for a couple of days now. First day was on Tuesday. I'm sure they're already excited to get into the weekend. But what is Project Back to School? Let's start there. What is this all about?
Project Back to School, during the summer, we collect back to school items that are needed for students, ranging from backpacks and earbuds and notebooks and crayons and pencils and everything that they would need to be able to focus on their learning, and they would have these supplies in a backpack. And we were collecting back to school items in almost 20 sites throughout our community, churches and businesses. And then beginning of August, we had a group of students from the Messiah University physical therapy grad students, and they helped us pre-fill 60 backpacks with all those lovely items. And then they actually delivered them to the counselors in all the schools. So the counselors could give out the backpacks to the students before school even started or throughout the school year. If at any time during the school year a student needs more back to school items, they just have to reach out to their counselor or have their parent reach out to a counselor, and we'll be able to get those back to school items that they may be in short supply.
And I think about like going back to school shopping with my kids over the last couple of weeks and all the little different things that they needed. And it certainly can add up, and maybe some families need a little assistance with those types of things. So as you mentioned, the school counselor is the place to go, and it can be confidential, correct? I mean, to the extent of your kid doesn't have to feel embarrassed, or you don't have to feel embarrassed as a family that you need to reach out and ask for a little help.
Not at all. One of the reasons why we ask families if they need assistance, whether it's with Project Back to School or any of our projects, is to reach out to a school counselor, and then the counselor reaches out to us. And for most of our projects, we don't know who we're helping, and we preserve confidentiality that way. Also, by going to the counselors, if there's other things that the family needs that Operation Wildcat can't handle, they can steer them in the right direction to other resources that could be available.
If you are a person in the community maybe looking to donate or to support, be it Project Back to School or any other project, what is the best way that a person could reach out to say, hey, I want to support this cause, what can I do?
So they can always go to our website, which is operationwildcat.org, and that will have a list of what we're collecting for each of our projects. Donated items, if they're for students, they can be left at any of the school buildings. If the middle school is convenient, we ask that donations be left there, because in the basement of the middle school is where we store most of our items, our back to school items, our clothing items. If it's for a family or a larger item, furniture, yard sale items, those can be donated at the warehouse, which is open on Saturdays and Sundays, 1 to 3. And the address for the warehouse, it's on our website. We put out in the newsletter all that information. And also we have a big social media presence on Facebook and Instagram.
And something very important to note regarding donations: if you're planning to go to the warehouse to donate, make sure the Operation Wildcat team is there. They do not like, nor should you be donating or leaving, in this case, items if they are not there to intake them, correct?
Right. Correct. Only Saturdays and Sundays, 1 to 3. And if it's furniture, you need to send a picture of the item in advance to ensure that we have room for the item there. And then for clothing donations, we ask for donations that your child has outgrown but not outworn. So no rips, stains, or tears, please. And the same with back to school items. Most of those items, we ask that they either be new or gently used, because we are giving them to a student, and we don't want them stained or torn up.
Perfect. So let's circle back to where we started, which is Project Back to School. Again, if you're a family that might be in need, you reach out to your school's guidance counselor via email, or you could stop in person. And those backpacks, how long are they available? You said you packed 60, so it is kind of like while supplies last, or how long are they available?
They're available all year round because we'll get requests from the counselor saying, hey, we need more backpacks or we need more supplies. And then we'll go to the supplies that we have in the middle school and be able to provide them to the counselors. So they are available year round. I'm hoping that by this time of the year, now that school started, that if you needed a backpack before school started, that you already got one from your counselor. But if it turns out during the school year, the student needs more supplies, they're available. They just reach out to the counselor and we'll get them to the counselor.
Perfect, Leslie. Thank you very much. Anything else you'd like to add?
Go Wildcats.
Thanks a lot, Leslie. And as she mentioned, OperationWildcat.org is the website. The warehouse is open Saturdays and Sundays from 1 until 3 p.m., 507 North York Street in Mechanicsburg. Please only make your donations during those hours and while staff is in attendance. Also, a couple of dates to keep in mind. The Project Boo open house is coming up on Wednesday, October 1st at the Kindergarten Academy, 4:30 to 6:30. But before we get into spooky season and October, we have homecoming on the horizon, and the Project Glam open house dates are tentative but are as follows: August 24th, September 14th, and September 21st, 1 until 3 p.m. Please consider Project Glam as your first stop to shop before you hit up the stores. It's a great way for Operation Wildcat to help you during this special time of year. You can get all the details at OperationWildcat.org. We're going to take a break and come back. Then Dave Harris will rejoin me from the Members First Federal Credit Union broadcast booth at Ken Millen Stadium, Mechanicsburg and Carlisle, live on Go Mechanicsburg.
Locally owned and operated, 11 Oaks Farms raises Wagyu beef and heritage breed pork right here in Newville, Pennsylvania. Our low-stress practices and carefully designed diets produce some of the finest meats you will ever experience. We also offer a selection of quality Angus beef, pork, chicken, seasonings, sauces, pantry items, and much more. Shop online at 11oaksfarms.com. Visit us in-store at 34 North Corporation Street in Newville or call 717-360-8249.
Are you on the hunt for a new home? Maybe you're a growing family looking to expand your living situation, or you find your current space too large and you're simply looking to downsize. Whatever your needs, contact Charity Kastner, Realtor with RSR Realtors today. Charity knows the local real estate market and she will find the right home for you. Charity Kastner isn't just a Mechanicsburg-based realtor, she's a Mechanicsburg mom. And after all, mother knows best. Just ask her kids. Make the move today by calling Charity Kastner at 717-557-9312 or rsrrealtors.com to find your first or next home sweet home.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Seth Gardner for your personal price plan today.
Snappers Bar and Grill at 120 East Allen Street in Mechanicsburg is proud to support Wildcat Athletics. Snappers is open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. until 9 p.m. and offers outstanding service and exceptional food and drink options, all at a fair price. Stop in for fresh seafood, delicious hand-cut steaks, and homemade pasta dishes. Snappers also offers a variety of sandwiches, fresh, crisp salads, and awesome appetizers. Dine in, carry out, or have your next big gathering catered. Snappers Bar and Grill. Call 717-697-9475 to learn more.
With True Green, we got a great price on a golf course quality lawn,
which attracted golfers.
Morning.
Who needs a warm-up?
And because True Green's doing the work, we get to have more fun.
Please don't post that.
Too late.
They don't have grass this thick in Australia.
That's what happens when you have a great lawn.
Shanked it again, huh? They're fun to have around.
PGA Tour quality lawns for as little as $1 a day.
Where are we playing next?
Get started at TrueGreen.com.
A deck where memories are made, barbecues are grilled, and sunsets are savored. But let's face it, not all decks are created equal. Enter Westshire Decks. We're not your average deck builders. Precision is our mantra. We don't just build decks, we craft outdoor living spaces tailored to your dreams. With Westshire Decks, you get seasoned experts who know decks inside and out. So why settle for a deck that's just okay when you can have one that's extraordinary? Westshire Decks, where craftsmanship meets creativity. Give us a call today and come see how we are different.
The Wildcat Foundation is Mechanicsburg Area School District's education foundation. Established in 1998, the foundation raises and distributes funds that support students in education, wellness, cultural awareness, and athletics. The Wildcat Foundation has also awarded hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarships to support students' higher education. Learn more and donate today at wildcatfoundation.org. Wolf Brewing Company, located in Legacy Park, just off South Market Street in Mechanicsburg, offers a family and pet-friendly atmosphere for community members of all ages. Family owned by Wildcat graduates, Wolf Brewing Company serves up delectable dishes including comfort foods with a gourmet twist, plus drinks of all types for the community, from the community. Roll in before, during, or after the game for their laid-back ambiance, live music, trivia, and more. Wolf Brewing Company, 100 Legacy Park Drive, Suite 400, or online at wolfbrewingco.com.
Getting you back to Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics, presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville. Live on Go Mechanicsburg.
Back at Ken Millen Stadium, Mike Garland, Dave Harris, and you. I'm hanging out in the Members First Federal Credit Union broadcast booth, and I've invited Dave along for the ride, and you as well. So thank you for tuning in on this week one of high school football Friday 2025. You know, we don't have any out-of-town scores, but we want to wish the best of luck at least 9 of the 10 weeks this year to Coach Costello and the Northern Polar Bears. They are opening tonight against the Spring Grove Rockets. So great to see Coz get that opportunity after so many years as an assistant here at Mechanicsburg to take over for Bill Miller at Northern.
Yeah, I talked to him a little bit this week because he's, of course, still with us at the school there a bit. And, yeah, obviously he's excited. Spring Grove, he said he thought was a pretty formidable foe for his first one out, but I think he's excited just to have the opportunity and see what he can build. Nice article on him in the Sentinel, of course, today as well, talking a little bit about just kind of the bigger picture or the bigger term of a build. You know, again, we all tend to look at things in terms of seasons, but depending on what you inherit and what the structure is, you know, you got to take some time to build. You know, we go back in our own program in different eras, different chapters, and sometimes you got to come back and you got to build participation, and then you got to build attitude, and then you got to build strength, and then from there you build scheme and tradition. Right? It's a long process, and you know, so I think he's excited about that. It sounds like from that article particularly that he's in it for the long haul and sees the big climb there.
And it's been a pretty exciting first half here in Mechanicsburg as the Cats, which, I mean, we all know, 10-0 last year, a playoff win, a competitive game against the eventual state champion Bishop McDevitt Crusaders, but they came out hot, scored the first points of the game, up 7-0, up 14-0, then it's 14-7, and it's been all Wildcats ever since, and Noah Apple has been the MVP of tonight's game so far.
Yeah, you know, I'm not surprised. I mean, I can't say I saw him doing everything that he did, but I'm not surprised that he's the difference maker. Obviously, Colin Stair, we knew what we had there. Drake Dawson in a little different position. I think we knew what we had there in terms of him as a player, not necessarily the position. But, yeah, definitely a good first half of your coach Eckert. You're real happy.
That kickoff slips through the wickets of Michael Hakeem. He picks it up, and he's going to be tackled at about the 13-yard line. So, again, Carlisle starting deep in their own territory here in quarter number 3. But, hey, it's a whole new half. The Wildcats put up 31 in 24 minutes of play. Carlisle would love to do the same. That would certainly make things interesting.
Well, you know, it is. It's a full half. You know, obviously the Cats are going to come out, it looks like, with most of their starting defense out there, if not all of the starting defense. And, you know, but things happen. You know, big plays happen, turnovers happen, and you know, it's not so much the 24th point from now. It's the first 7 or the next 7, and if they start chipping away at it, you know, they can make a game of it.
Will Smith takes the shotgun snap, steps up in the pocket, lowers the shoulder on Drew Freeland. Big contact there as Smith picks up about 7 yards on first down.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd want to lower my shoulder into Drew Friel. He's a pretty tough cookie there, and he held his ground, though. He held his ground and did not give up any additional yardage there. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see here again as we talk a little bit about, what Coach Heckard does in terms of mixing some players in, because you do want to build some depth. We talked early on about that opportunity last year to get younger players time because of these one-sided games at halftime, and he's faced with that opportunity again. So that being said, though, you got a lot of first-time starters out there who don't have a lot of time under their belt in as varsity starters, and you want to get them to feeling comfortable too.
Khalil Jackson takes that screen from Will Smith and moves the chains. The first down here for the Thundering Herd on their first possession in the third quarter.
Yeah, again, they're going to have to throw the ball. Obviously I don't know that anyone sees them coming out here and scoring 24 points, but if they're going to do so, they can't abandon who they are, but they're going to have to do a few things differently than they did with their play calling in the first half.
Inside handoff for the Herd and gang tackles up front for the Cats, including Jimmy Dwyer. We've talked about Colin Stair going to Central Michigan at the high Division I level. Jimmy Dwyer is going to Sacred Heart at the low Division I or FCS level, formerly 1AA, whatever you'd like to call it. But you've got a couple of defensive line guys that are D1 athletes.
Yeah, I mean, and those guys have been playing 3 years, right? Those two fellows in particular, we know they started as sophomores, so they're playing their 25th, 26th game by this point in their career.
And Will Smith's pass is incomplete. The umpire acted as a de facto extra defenseman there for the Wildcats, and Michael Hakeem may have even made some contact, but as an athlete, the officials on the field are part of the game. They are to get out of your way.
Well, and that's not. You kind of get in a flow sometimes too. You step up in, but if there's not a lot of surge, there haven't been many passes over the middle, and certainly many passes from Carlisle. So I think maybe the umpire there was caught just a little bit off guard.
Third down and 9 for the Herd. Smith in the gun, a single back to his right. 4 wide receivers as the Herd spreads the field. 9:51 on the third quarter clock as it stopped on that incompletion. Colin Stair breaks through. The pass is completed to Stroud, and Stroud is going to reach the 30-yard line, but short of the line to gain. Colin Stair was in the vicinity for the tackle, and fourth down for the Herd, and we'll have to see down 31-7. Does the offense stay on the field?
Yeah, I was talking this week with some folks about Carlisle, and Stroud's a name you just heard a little bit about, and I heard someone also say, you can debate who the best players are on the field tonight, but Stroud's got to be in that conversation. I know we'd be partial to talk about certainly Colin Stair, but he has been every bit as advertised, and I say that it was word of mouth advertising. I heard about him. He's been impressive tonight.
The last Thundering Herd punt was a safety. This one scoots by J.J. Gould, and the Herd will down it at the 29-yard line. It took a quick short hop past him. He was going to try to field it on the bounce, and past him it went. First down and 10 for the Cats.
Well, so now we've had 3 punts, I believe, at least 3 that stand out to me. One that he fielded beautifully. One that it was a nice kick and he couldn't get to it. And that one was the in-betweener one. And, that's something there. Again, close games, those are difference makers. And I'm sure the coaches will work with him a little bit on what they want him to be doing out there, when to get close and try to make the play and when to get the heck out of the way, because that was precariously close to touching it and turning the ball over.
There was a flag on the return. It's going to be a hold against the Wildcats. And again, a reminder, fans, Wildcat Foundation is longtime supporters of our web streams, and we are back to school, and the Wildcat Foundation would like to welcome students, teachers, and district families into the classrooms for this school year. The Wildcat Foundation has awarded more than $87,000 in grant funds to more than 20 different district programs for the school year, as well as $43,000 in scholarship funds to seniors from the class of 2025 as they embark on their college journeys. And I know that you in the building see so many more students than I, who only see them perform on the athletics fields, but we were all part of graduation back at the end of May, early June, and it's always great to, it's bittersweet to say goodbye to those kids, but it's exciting for their next journey. Ball on the carpet, and a flag comes flying in as well. It's the facade, not the carpet.
This is the kind of thing that I think they're ruling that we recovered it.
Mechanicsburg football.
That's the kind of thing that makes it can start to make this a little bit more interesting than it has been to this point. But I think we recovered it.
And an official's timeout as well as they discuss the penalty. And now when you get a lead like this, and it was something Mechanicsburg saw a lot of last year, you can't get complacent. You can't be satisfied with what you have because you still have 24 minutes of football left, and you have to play to that final whistle.
Well, it is difficult. It's difficult to play. I don't want to say, to play with a lead. Now, obviously, this is different than the 4 minutes at the end of the game when you're up by 3 or 6 or 7. That's a whole different set of strategy. But here, is the intensity there still in your kids? It's easy to get complacent. The kids, they are just that. They're kids. They see the scoreboard, and they're like, hey, we got this. This is easy. This is just a matter of time now. And so, yes, coaches, you got to stay on them about that. As coaches, you got to keep calling plays. And, I used the word sportsmanship before, but you can't just run the ball up the middle every time, right? Maybe you're not going to do a lot of trickery, but you got to use your whole playbook. You got to give your kids a chance. It's not 5 minutes left in the game. It's almost 9 minutes left in the third quarter.
Holding was the call on the offense, and they say the penalty will be enforced from the line of scrimmage. Inside the 20, I believe this is a half the distance situation. So they will mark this off. Although I believe you can march off the 10, so they go 10, they go 8. And they went the full 10. So first down and 20. 280 days since I've done this. Handoff to Drake Dawson. He thunders through the middle.
Yeah, we haven't seen him as much as we did in some of those early series, and probably in part because they didn't need him. They spread some things out. They didn't want to, you don't want to wear him out, if you will, game one. But here you are with your back to the wall. That shortens your playbook up a little bit. You got first and long. You're inside the 10-yard line. So you go back to the bread and butter. You go back to the basics. And at that point there, they're just going to give it to Dawson and let him grind that out and pound that up front there.
And Dawson comes off, gets a swig of water from water girl Gabby Stair. I'm sure Colin loves having his sister as the water girl. Keeps the family together as Colin pulls on this pitch to Reese Miller, and that play goes nowhere, maybe even a loss of one, so third down and long.
So again here, you're not necessarily trying to put yourself at risk for a sack, for a turnover, for another hold here on third and long, but you would like to pick up 5, 6, 7 yards, get your punting team a little bit further out because, again, just as we saw with Carlisle, it's early in the season. The snapper, we did punt already. Noah Apple punted, but it's not his primary position, right? He's just obviously clearly the best one we have to do it. So you'd like to get out of here a little bit and create a little bit of space for them to work with.
Reese Miller through the middle, breaking a couple of tackles on 3rd and 16. It's looking to bring up a 4th down and maybe 7 for the Cats.
Yeah,
and a nice job in the middle by Lil Cook. Nathan Carruthers as well, and the punt unit does come on for the Cats. And going back deep for the Thundering Herd, Michael Hakeem.
Well, that's a nice play. Obviously, call and execution all the way around. It's exactly what you wanted. They got themselves 7, 8 yards and give themselves some room here, so hopefully they can get this ball off and get down and cover.
A nice end-over-end punt is going to take a Wildcat bounce from the 40 towards the 35. And I'll tell you what, Dave, I looked up during that punt. That pesky sun from earlier has transitioned to a beautiful sunset.
It has. It'd be almost beautiful. Again, another good play by Noah, if I could throw in real quickly.
Absolutely.
High snap, which he, again, as an athlete, he fields that very easily, and the rush is on him. And sometimes that's when you get a stronger kick with that rush. Probably doesn't have quite the drop technique that he wanted to have, but he got a boomer off out of bounds and puts the Cats right back and play defensively. But I agree. Beautiful view that we have right now.
So first down and 10 for the Herd. Also want to wish best of luck to Josh Smith as he heads off to Princeton to embark on his freshman season. That's a whole new level of work, going off to an Ivy and playing football along the way. First down and 10 for the Herd. Carruthers takes the handoff. Excuse me, that was Curtis Stroud. Stroud with the handoff.
45-yard line and close to a first down.
9-yard gain, maybe 10, depending on the spot.
Well, if you're Carlisle now, clearly, I mean, obviously you'd like to put a couple scores up, make this respectable. If you can't, even if you can't get back into it, but you turn around, you got Cumberland Valley followed by CD East, and McDevitt and Harrisburg. So, not a whole lot of easy spots on their schedule, nor anybody's. Obviously, at this point in the season, it's hard to know what everybody has, but they want to try to get some positive momentum, something to build on, something to build from.
1st and 10. Handoff to Khalil Jackson. And he will move the chains as well. Another 10-yard gain for the Herd. We talk about the Carlisle schedule up next for Mechanicsburg. Again, it's that road trip against Palmyra at Northern Lebanon, then home against Mifflin County, at Hershey Park Stadium against Lower Dauphin High School. That's one I'm looking forward to that one. All the times I've ever gone to Hershey Park Stadium for a concert, for an Easter egg hunt with my kids, it'll be the first time I've got to broadcast a football game there. So that should be a good time.
All right. Put it on the calendar.
1st down and 10. 2 straight first downs for the Herd. And they run it one more time to Jackson.
He's not the biggest. He's listed at 5'5", 135, but he's got a quick burst there. He gets in there pretty quickly, sticks his nose in there, not afraid of contact, but looks, again, runs with his eyes and looks to get to that second level.
A gain of 4, 2nd down and 6. Carlisle back to the line of scrimmage. Don't forget to download that new district app. Ease of access for all things district related, just a click away. Athletics, academics, and more. Smith's pass in the flat is completed to Hakeem. And Carlisle moves the chains again as Hakeem is bounced out of bounds. Landon Yale in the area, Tanner Minnick as well.
So Carlisle's got a little bit going now. They seem to be in a little bit of a flow with their play calling, a little bit right, a little bit left. They've kept it on the ground, but a few passes. We saw the one over the middle hit the umpire. This was a nice play action to the left flat. They caught him in stride. And Hakeem is one of those guys coming back that they did a few things for him last year. I think they're expecting big things from him, and nice play there.
Jack DeLuca on defensively. And I'll stand corrected. It was Grady Weaver on the tackle on the previous play. Flag flies in. And it should be against Carlisle as it's thrown in the Herd backfield.
I think they have 12 if I am paying attention carefully here.
That works in Canada. Not so much here.
Yeah.
So the officials are talking it out.
Somebody just walked off over there, so I think that's...
But is Carlisle going to take a timeout? Do they have that option now that you can call the timeout to discard the penalty?
Well, on this very field, in about 2003, Coach Harris was working with the JVs against Carlisle, and we had 12 men on the field, and they wouldn't let us take the timeout because they told us the snap was imminent. Is how the penalty went, or how it went, and we were given the penalty. So then they gave us the timeout, and I refused the timeout. I said, I don't want the timeout.
Decline the timeout. Timeout.
They said, well, too bad. We're charging it with you. And it was a great game. We ended up in, I think, a 32-32 tie, as a matter of fact. They wouldn't let us play overtime in a JV game back then.
That's unfortunate. We're going to keep it right here. Remind you that fall sports are here, and Shaggy Chic Dog Grooming is cheering on our hometown teams. While athletes hit the field, let your dog be the MVP at home. Call the Shaggy Chic Dog Grooming crew, 717-919-6266, or stop by 16 South Market Street in Mechanicsburg. Shaggy Chic Dog Grooming, where every pet looks like a champion. Go Wildcats. And I want to thank their crew for reaching out a couple of weeks back and saying, hey, how can we get involved? And I said, let me tell you. So here we are. Following the timeout, 1st down and 10. A little misdirection for the Herd as Drew Freeland picks up the tackle on the ball carrier Curtis Stroud.
Well, and that's the thing up front. I mean, I felt like in the first half, clearly, the first quarter and a half anyway, the Cats very much controlled the defensive line of scrimmage. Not so much with a deep surge, because I think they penetrated in with the counter movement. You kind of play your gap. You play your responsibility. You sit at home and wait for it to come to you. I don't know if we've made some substitutions and we're getting a little sloppy with that, or if Carlisle's getting a little better with their execution. But some of this misdirection stuff seems to be working for them a little better right now than it did in the first half.
2nd and 10 for the Herd. Smith stepping up in the pocket. And a tackle near the line of scrimmage. Jack DeLuca wraps up Will Smith. So 3rd down and medium.
Well, clearly 4-down territory in a game of this margin, 4 minutes left in the third quarter, right? So, again, what works for Carlisle here is, again, they're not a potent passing offense. They've got Smith maybe starting to get a little confidence, has hit Hakeem out here in the flat, but they also can stick with their base offense because they have got, it's 4-down territory. They got 2 downs to move the sticks here.
3rd and 6. Carlisle on the Mechanicsburg 19-yard line in that red zone. Smith hands it off to Stroud, who tries to stretch it out and can't turn the corner. Colin Stair, Jack DeLuca in on the stop.
I'm going to take a little credit for that one there, Mike. I think they heard me talk about getting a little undisciplined here in the second half in the misdirection, because I'll tell you what, there was a surge and a determination there that we hadn't seen yet on this drive. And it wasn't just Stair. Again, there were 4 white jerseys who made penetration and clogged things up in there, which allowed Stair to run it down and make the play.
So 4th and 8. 4-down territory for the Herd as they were trailing 31-7. Smith in the gun. Quick hitter to Hakeem, and he is going to be stopped near the line of scrimmage. Drew Freeland in on the tackle, also Dylan Taylor, and it's a turnover on downs, and the Mechanicsburg offense coming back out onto the field.
Nice play. Fly into the football. Again, that's what Coach Egger wants. And I think, the fact that they didn't get a cheap, easy score here, the fact that they had to keep their defense out there, you like I said, we don't have the second, the third scrimmage. So as much as it's nice to be up 31-7, and I think you're going to start to see him make some substitutions and get some people out of there, up to this point, you really need to get these guys. They need game conditioning. Both endurance-wise, but they need reps. Again, of making the reads, of scraping off the blockers, of filling the run lanes, of closing on the football.
Apple hands it off, and it goes to Reese Miller. Miller past the line of scrimmage, and then some, a gain of 6, maybe 7 yards. And even though, again, this year's team, very different from last year, the theme of last year was the starters didn't really play all 4 quarters until, the Cocalico game? I mean, even against Shippensburg at the end of the season, that game got out of hand pretty quick, and you had the second and third team players playing. So it's just not a common thing right now for the starters to play all 4 quarters.
Well, and we hope it stays that way,
Absolutely.
Right? That's a pretty good way to build a program. You get your young kids, they're excited to get in. It's not realistic to think it's going to happen every week. And that's why all the more why you can't get these guys out at the start of the second half. Not that anyone's saying they should, but you don't know what next week's going to bring and the next week's going to bring and the next week's going to bring. I hope we have some more one-sided games, but it's way too early in the season to see that. Till you see what everybody else has, till you get to see where your health is at. And again, not a lot of guys who played the most meaningful minutes last year. This is their first step up into doing that.
And something to think about as Carlisle tends to an injured Davion Baker, and based on the way he's walking off, he may be cramping. It is a little warm tonight. It's been unseasonably cool, and it's still a cool evening, but it was a little warmer today than it was yesterday. But something to think about is that these seniors have not lost a regular season game since October 6th of their sophomore year. That is 2023. So that's a big thing to carry on your shoulders as Reese Miller surges forward and picks up the first down.
I'll tell you what, you talked about, obviously, Noah Apple and what he's done. I drove here tonight. I mean, I read the stuff in the paper. I can't say I get to watch practice. I watched a little bit of the scrimmage. Reese Miller, what he brings to the table has really surprised me. Not just the production, but the way he has done it. He runs with some ferocity and does not come down easy. And that's I think we're going to see a lot from him this season.
Apple in the shotgun. Reese Miller takes the handoff, turns the corner, has a gap in open spaces. Can Reese Miller go the distance? He's going to be tackled at the 28-yard line, and 2 Carlisle players in his wake. One may be cramping, the other looks injured, but regardless, a bullish run by Reese Miller.
That's it. I said ferocity. I don't know how else to describe it. He just, and it's not an angry run. Sometimes you talk about, I think back to the days of seeing a John Ritchie or even some of the guys over at Middletown, J.J. Baker, fullback back in the 90s. Those guys they were battering rams. He's not a battering ram. Matter of fact, he's kind of slender in build, but he is physical. He is tough and fun watching him.
You mentioned J.J. Gould. I got a nightmarish flashback. When I was a senior, I played in the East-West All-Star game. We showed that highlight last year in Week 1. And that was when the East Shore teams played the West Shore teams. There's a whole different kind of football on the East Shore. And as a Boiling Springs bubbler that went 2-8 my senior year, you didn't see players like J.J. Baker. And I remember making contact with him in the All-Star game, and it was something different.
Yeah, it was a fun game played down there for the league in '94 at the end of the season. And we won the league there. That was Perry Albert, Josh Hess, Danny Grant, Mike Edwards, a bunch of good guys, tough guys on the line as well, who helped make it happen. But I think even Pete Weaver was a part of that team. He was a tough guy, and it was just J.J. Baker was just a beast. I mean, and we hung on for dear life and found a way to get it done.
If I remember right, he was a spark plug in so many different ways. Noah Apple on the quarterback keeper, tackled just past the line of scrimmage by Braden Hunter, and another Carlisle defender slow to get up.
Well, this is it. I mean, football it's a game of psychology too, right? You know, we know all of the warfare analogies and metaphors that get used both in war and football and war, right? And I know they're far from the same thing, but you do start to break down the will, right? You start to break down the will, and you get up a lot easier even when you get dinged when you're winning. But when you're getting buried 5, 6, 8, 10, and then 30 yards at a gash, it gets real hard to get up every time and know it's coming again.
Apple in the gun on 2nd down and 7 as the third quarter clock starts to evaporate. There's a flag flying in on this Reese Miller run, so it may come back as he's tackled near the 10, likely in the area of a hold by one of the receivers downfield, but maybe you get a defensive face mask.
I don't know. I thought it was right in the center of the line here.
We shall see.
Yeah.
Either way, there's a hold.
Yep. Well,
yeah, that's an offensive hold, Anthony LaRock, because now at the high school level, they will single you out.
Well, if we're going to say your name when you score a touchdown, then we probably have to, or when we do say your name when you throw an interception, right? Or when you fumble the ball. So it's all part of it, And that's also the beauty of sports, right? It's the great thing about it, the highs and the lows. Once they're out there, nobody can control it. Not their coaches, not their parents, not their teachers. They got to live and accept what their effort and their performance brings them, and that's the beauty of it all.
2nd and 17. Miller is going to take that handoff and get gobbled up in the backfield. John Book leading the way in what could be or should be the final play of the third quarter for the Mechanicsburg Wildcats, as we will head to the final 12 minutes. On the way out, I'll remind you that the Mechanicsburg Music Alliance, along with U.S. Bands, invite you to be part of the 27th annual Music in the Park event and Music Showcase, Saturday, September 27th at Memorial Park. 2 collegiate-level marching bands will perform along with 6 high schools, including our own Maroon Machine. Gates open at 5 p.m. with the competition starting at 6. Tickets are $12 for adults. Students are $8. Seniors, discounts as well. Children 4 and younger admitted free. And oh, by the way, if you're interested in getting tickets, there's that QR code. You can give it a scan. We'll leave it on screen for just a second. But the big band event coming up, and you'll be able to see the Maroon Machine live in action coming up in Week 3 when the Mifflin County Huskies come to town. So we're going to take a break, come back in about 30 seconds to start the fourth quarter. It's Mechanicsburg 31, Carlisle 7, live on Go Mechanicsburg. Snappers Bar and Grill at 120 East Allen Street in Mechanicsburg is proud to support Wildcat Athletics. Snappers is open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. until 9 p.m. and offers outstanding service and exceptional food and drink options, all at a fair price. Stop in for fresh seafood, delicious hand-cut steaks, and homemade pasta dishes. Snappers also offers a variety of sandwiches, fresh, crisp salads, and awesome appetizers. Dine in, carry out, or have your next big gathering catered. Snappers Bar and Grill. Call 717-697-9475 to learn more.
Getting you back to Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics, presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville. Live on Go Mechanicsburg.
We start the fourth quarter with a quick hitter on 3rd and 16. Noah Apple's pass was completed on the near side of the field for a short gain. And you remember the Cats had a holding penalty right towards the end of that third quarter, so it's now 4th down and 16.
It's four down territory. You're right. You're with where you were at, even especially with the penalty, and even without the penalty, if you were up, 4th and 3, for example. So you got your starters in there still, and Noah Apple, he needs reps. Again, we talked about the others needing reps. The only way I said he's going to make those completions later in the season. He's going to throw those balls where he wants to, but only by having these opportunities. So that's a small little play, a little couple-yard gain, but a big one in terms of what it stands for.
Apple rolling to his right. The pass is completed far sideline. Xavier Longenberger, and he's going to move the chains. That's a name we've mentioned once tonight, but certainly didn't mention at all last year. And the chains are going to move for the Cats. 1st down and 10 in the red zone.
Well, there's a case where Noah gets out. We know he can sprint out. We know he's a threat to run. That puts the defense kind of stuck in space. But he resets his feet, which is so crucial to getting that completion. And when you're a first-time quarterback, so much is happening. It's not just the read of the progression. You're on the move, right? And you got people chasing you. So getting your feet saddled, getting them set just the right way, and staying on top of that ball and throwing that tight spiral, which is exactly what he was able to do to Longenberger and get that downfield for the 1st down.
Verdelli in motion, goes from the right side to the left. Drake Dawson, the single back in the backfield. He takes the handoff, tries to bounce off a tackle on the left side, does so, and walks into the end zone. A 10-yard run, the first rushing touchdown of the year for Drake Dawson, and the Cats extend the lead 37-7.
Well, he looks the part, and it's going to be exciting to watch. I think, Coach Eckert has found the 1-2 punch, right? I think we know you can put Drake in a slot. He's going to catch the ball going down the field. You can put him back at tight end if you need to. But now that you can put him in the backfield, and now that we've seen certainly what Reese Miller can do, it's a two-headed monster before you even throw Noah Apple into the mix. So big play there.
Extra point attempt forthcoming from Tanner Minnick. A little bit of a high snap. Apple gets it down, and Minnick pops it up and through. 10:59 remaining in quarter number 4. It's Mechanicsburg 38 and Carlisle 7. We'll be back after this live on Go Mechanicsburg.
Snappers Bar and Grill at 120 East Allen Street in Mechanicsburg is proud to support Wildcat Athletics. Snappers is open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. until 9 p.m. and offers outstanding service and exceptional food and drink options, all at a fair price. Stop in for fresh seafood, delicious hand-cut steaks, and homemade pasta dishes. Snappers also offers a variety of sandwiches, fresh, crisp salads, and awesome appetizers. Dine in, carry out, or have your next big gathering catered. Snappers Bar and Grill. Call 717-697-9475 to learn more.
Getting you back to Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics, presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville. Live.
On the far side,
I think it's the first time we've seen a Mechanicsburg player need attention out on the field, which is, again, a sign of good off-season conditioning, right? But both preseason and as well as off-season in terms of their conditioning tonight. We're not seeing a lot in terms of the cramps, although I don't want to jinx us too soon here. We still have a quarter of football to go.
That is J.J. Gould being helped to the sideline. And if you're wondering if you're having network issues, yes, you are, because I am having network issues. I complete.
So that's the secondary, I think, from everything I can tell. And they had nice coverage. There was a guy running a deep route on the far side, the wide out, and good coverage over there. And they had decent coverage underneath. I think I saw, not sure. I don't want to say the wrong name here. I'm trying to look for it. I thought I saw somebody kind of in the flat over there. Almost had a pick.
Second down and 15. Thank you for sticking with us. An inside handoff for the Herd goes nowhere at the line of scrimmage. Coming out of the pile for the Cats, Vince Woolery, part of the tackling crew.
Mike, you go to this great effort to get me a monitor, and I'm squinting looking out at the field trying to figure out the numbers, and I can see it right here. It's really nice.
That's all right.
I appreciate that.
And now, you and I have had our own little off-air conversation for the last 5 minutes. If you're watching at home and you wondered where the broadcast went, 100% my fault. I unplugged the thing that makes the internet happen. So we've got this great rep from T-Mobile that worked really hard to get us this device, which has worked flawlessly. And the one hiccup tonight was when I just decided the plug was in my way and I unplugged it. And it doesn't reboot quickly.
We've learned.
I have learned. I got to draw a smiley face or a frowny face on that plug so I don't do it again. Smith takes the shotgun snap, rolls to his left, and he is going to be sacked. Chucked into the turf by Landon Yale. And, hey, at least it's grass. That's got to feel better than if it was like carpet,
well,
right?
I'll tell you what. Again, I think it's mostly second-teamers out here, and we're going to need these guys. Again, great coverage. I think over there, number 8, Jackson Hinkle. It's the second time I've noticed him all over, getting into his drops. But I could see the whole umbrella setup of the linebackers, secondary. Very technically sound, very well organized. And I know that sounds funny. Well, of course they should be. It's not always that easy when you're in week one, and it's not always that easy with the second D because you're not spending all your time with the second D as a unit. You only spend you do individual drills and you do your first team and you put some guys in and out, but you don't drill a unit together as a second unit very often. You just don't have the time to do it. But they look very well organized.
Hakeem with the punt, and J.J. Gould will fair catch it at the 39-yard line. So with the Cats up by 31, we're not in mercy rule timing yet. One more score, at least one more touchdown would put us there. But on this change of possession, it looks like the offensive ones are going to stay on the field.
That was Daniel Kurtz, actually, number 9, and I point that out only because he's about 6'2", so he really stood out to me. And he also was in at the safety previously, so I was watching him carefully as I watched the secondary that series. And again, I was saying how well they did, and I noticed him drop back. But he's interesting as a sophomore, 6'2", running with the twos and also fielding some punts. That might be a name we want to keep our eye on, too, going forward.
Well, if you remember a couple of plays back, Gould was actually tended to by the training staff, so it would make sense. Well, I mentioned that the ones might be staying on, but that's not the case, is Donnie Despenis. I got this wrong all the time last year.
Despenis.
Can you write that down for me somewhere as well? I just need to remember or try.
I'll see what I can do for you.
Despenis takes the shotgun snap, hands it off to Brock Metz, and a flag will fly as Despenis trots towards the sideline.
Yeah, we got through. It wasn't a heavy flagged game. I mean, as first weeks tend to go, they can be a lot more. Carlisle drew a few more than us. I mean, there were probably a good, maybe 8 or 9 in the first half between the two teams, which is a fair amount. But now we seem to be seeing a few more. I don't know if it's because you got the second teamers and their officials are more inclined to see the holds, or maybe they're more blatant holds. But we've seen a few more flags here as of late.
Center did something.
Yeah.
You give these high school officials a live microphone, and the execution isn't always proper. We just heard center. It's the position I played. It's the most important position on the field. Play can't start without you. Despenis on the quarterback keeper. He's going to pick up the first down.
He set up a nice block for himself there as well. That's always the key is what you see. And he saw, okay, I can't outrun this guy, but if I slow down, throttle back a little bit, let my receiver just get in his face, we're going to get a couple more yards, and that's what it took to get the first down. So nice play there by Donnie.
Luke Ryder with the block. It's going to be first down and 10. The ball at the Mechanicsburg 50-yard line. Despenis in the gun. Single back in the backfield. Takes the snap, drops the snap, can't find the ball. Carlisle football. Recovered by Luke Samuelson, and that just wasn't pretty.
Yeah, unfortunate because they had some momentum. The twos were looking good. I mean, again, you're going to need – those guys are necessary, right? You get guys who get dinged, and even if it's 2 plays at a crucial point in a game, you want them in there. You want them to have those reps. And so it's nice to see them work their way down the field. A little bit unfortunate there for Despenis. He just had a wonderful play. I'm going to guess it didn't look like a bad snap. Pride just took his eyes off the ball too quickly, didn't secure it, and was trying to look ahead and make get into his reading progression. And you got to take care of the football first, though.
8 minutes, 12 seconds remaining. I love this real-time interaction we get from the viewers. Now, ever since we did the internet reboot, apparently our voice is ahead of the play. So if you're wagering at all, I'm about to tell you what's going to happen, as the handoff is going to Curtis Stroud, and Stroud into the second level. And with that bit of advice, I would tell you to reboot your browser as Stroud surges forward. Another big run. These Carlisle backs have been running hard all night long.
Well, and this is one of those things we're going to see. We saw it last year. We're going to see this year. The other team's going to leave their ones in, right? They're not happy to be down 31 points. It's his opening night. They want some momentum. They want something to build on. They want something to feel good about. And so they're going to leave their ones in against the twos, and we understand that. It actually works well for our twos. It really does, because this is where they're ready to step in when they are needed on a Friday night in a close game in first quarter because someone's injured or someone's not able to go that week because they're being held out, for concussion or who knows what. It really gives them that preparation.
First down and 10. Another run for the Herd. And Carlisle playing for pride, but you also want to get out here healthy because you've got the rest of your season in front of you, including a big game next week against Cumberland Valley.
Yeah, well, I don't know the coach over there, but I think a lot of coaches look at their schedule and go, let's circle the ones we think we have a chance at, right? Not that you're saying you don't the others, but which ones? I got to believe Carlisle's thinking when they look at their schedule, Mechanicsburg lost a lot. Maybe we can hang around with them and see what we can do. So I'm sure they're not thinking they were going to find themselves down 4 scores in the really even in the first half.
That pass is incomplete. And a new quarterback for the Thundering Herd, Bishop Campbell, a sophomore. And you look at the coaching staff for the Carlisle Thundering Herd, Brandon Cook in his 3rd year, but there's a name on the roster of assistants that stands out, and that is Brett Ickes, who was a former head coach here at Carlisle. So a man that certainly knows the program. He coached at Big Spring as well. Going back to the All-Star game that I talked about, he was my coach in that All-Star game 30-some years ago. So no stranger to Mid-Penn football.
Yeah, no, I think other than the timeout at Big Spring, I think he has spent an awful lot of time on the Carlisle sideline over the years.
That pass by Campbell is incomplete. Intended on the near side corner for Michael Hakeem.
And Kurtz made a nice play on it there. Again, the coverage was there. It was deep. Campbell, you mentioned Bishop Campbell being a sophomore. He was one of the, again, the preview article that I was able to read on Carlisle pointed out they weren't sure what they were going to do. And he was in the mix with the 3 quarterbacks. So he's obviously number 2. And, that for them, that's something that could change, a couple times here early in the season because they don't have a proven starter back. And, it's a chance for him to come out and show what he can do.
4th and 7, the offense stays on the field. And a whistle. And a timeout. Carlisle will take that chance to step out as well. 38-7, Mechanicsburg leads. Back after this live on Go Mechanicsburg.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Seth Gardner for your personal price plan today.
Getting you back to Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics, presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville. Live on Go Mechanicsburg.
Following the timeout, we are back live in the Members First Federal Credit Union broadcast booth. Want to thank our friends at Mechanicsburg Area Recreation for their continued support of our web streams. With the Recreation Department, there's a lot of stuff you can do. Fantastic experiences that inspire, enrich, and bring the community together. Visit mbgsd.org, click on the Recreation tab, or drop by their offices at the Trails and Trees Environmental Center and say hi to Ryan Hartman when you do so. That pass nearly caught by Hakeem, and it was a beautiful ball by Jackson. He led Hakeem nicely into that corner, but just a little too far.
Well, and again, this is the stuff. First of all, again, if you're Mechanicsburg, I've been impressed with that secondary. The coach, you can go back watch the film. They were with them step for step. You flip over to the Carlisle side, you watch this film, you break this down tomorrow morning, and you look at this quarterback and you go, all right, that's a dimension we didn't have for 3.5 quarters. Not that that's a game changer, obviously, but it changes a few things, and that's not a knock on the first team guy. He didn't get Smith did not get a lot of those kind of play calls for him, but Campbell dropped a dime in there, and fortunately there was good coverage breaking it up.
So Mechanicsburg gets the ball back. Despenis, I get it right?
You did.
All right. 1 for 7. Despenis back in the gun. 6 minutes, 41 seconds. Cats would be content to make this be the final possession of the ball game if they could, as that handoff is given to Brock Metz, and he's going to be tackled near the line of scrimmage, a gain of maybe 1.
Well, 6.5 minutes without the mercy rule. That's going to be some drive to take that off of there. I think it's going to be a lot. But
they would like it to be.
Let's see. I've seen it happen.
They would like it to be.
I think of the Mechanicsburg Cedar Cliff game. I want to say about 96 Coy Wire for Cedar Cliff. My memory might not be exact, but I felt like I think I'm pretty close. They ran about 18 runs in a downpour to their bench to Coy Wire, and it's hard to go 90 yards, 18 plays, but we couldn't stop them. But he couldn't break one either, and they did. They managed to run most of the rest of the game out and put in a score and kind of put the nail in things for us.
Despenis with the pass intended for Luke Ryder, incomplete. And you mentioned Coy Wire, friend of mine. We actually went to, I guess, middle school together for a minute before he ended up at Cedar Cliff, on to Stanford, played in the NFL, and he just got assigned to TNT. He's doing some college football coverage, and he's going to be on a crew with JB Long, voice of the Los Angeles Rams. So congratulations to Coy for that assignment.
Yeah. No, those were obviously Cedar Cliff, a very proud and tradition-rich program, but they were some really good teams back then. And, we had a pretty good team, that 96 team, Mark Olivetti and Josh Druck and a number of their teammates, and really put up a really nice fight that night. We just couldn't get it finished out. He was a little more than we could handle.
Despenis passing again, screen pass is incomplete. Brock Metz was the intended receiver, and Bob Craig at Cedar Cliff had some teams year over year, and you have Coy Wire before that, you have Kyle Brady. I mean, those are two legends in Central PA football.
I think the first Mechanicsburg game I got to be at in 1991 as a new teacher was at West Shore Stadium, Cedar Cliff, because as a freshman coach, I usually had to go scout, but that night I didn't have to go scout, and it was a very lopsided score in their favor. They put up some big numbers on us that night.
Despenis will punt. Backup quarterback equals backup punter. Receives the snap clean. A low, wobbly punt that stops near the 40 and is downed by the Wildcats and Tristan Wolf. So Carlisle gets the ball back, and I'm just keeping my opinions to myself now on what should happen over the next 5:33. I thought, hey, maybe Mechanicsburg can take this clock and they can hop back on the bus, and hey, maybe Carlisle will do the same thing, right?
Well,
no, probably.
Well, 40 yards in 5 minutes. You'd have to get exactly 4.25 yards.
I don't
of
need
play,
you to tell me why I'm wrong here.
I'm just
There's no doubt about the result of this game. It's just how long will the next 5 minutes and 33 seconds take?
Let's try to identify the next bright spot of the young players out there on the field for Mechanicsburg.
Absolutely, and another run by the Thundering Herd. That was Khalil Jackson, and in on the tackle for the Cats, Lucas Mikulich, one of the tacklers.
Yeah, certainly saw, again, some good line play in there as well. I think it was maybe Gabe Chisnell, maybe did I see him in there?
Second down and 8. Quarterback keeper for Bishop Campbell. And Campbell stopped near the line of scrimmage. Coming out of the pile for the Cats, Luke Ryder, along with Mikulich.
Number 9, Bishop Campbell on the quarterback keeper.
Well, now what you have, of course, as we had the last two series, of course, when we saw Bishop Campbell come in as the quarterback, of course, they've got their twos in on their line as well. So you've got a little more of a little different kind of matchup this series offensively or defensively for the Wildcats than what they had previously going against the ones. And they're getting a little bit of surge, and they're right around the football. So let's see what they can do here on third.
Third down and 5. Handoff to Braden Hunter. Hunter's going to pick up the first down. Needed 5, got 6 or 7. Tackle again by Ryder.
Yeah, sophomore running back there. He ran with some purpose there and some good vision. Kind of put the foot down and turned it up. What young kids tend to want to run that outside. That was a nice play for him to turn that up and in and find the seam and get the first down.
Chains will move for the Thundering Herd. 3:44 remaining, quarter number 4. Campbell in the gun. Bobble on the handoff. Now the football's just loose, and Carlisle will recover. The back never truly had a handle. That looked to be Braden Hunter there, and finally did pop out. There was some nice contact up front by the Wildcats, which helped eventually knock it loose.
Yeah, no. I've been impressed with the second D. I think there's some guys here who are going to probably be pressing for some time, certainly. And again, you want to spell guys, give them rest. You like you said, they get banged up a little bit, and sometimes it's just one or two plays. It could be an equipment thing, but you got to put somebody in a crucial time. You want to have these guys ready to go. And again, I come back to the word organization, because there's just not a lot of time to keep everybody together as a unit and be able to build that communication across the line or across the linebacking core. And these guys are playing really well together tonight.
Bishop Campbell's pass intended for Landon Trehan is incomplete. He bobbled it and couldn't corral it. So the clock will stop with 2:45 remaining. Coming up after the game, we'll recognize our 11 Oaks Farms player of the game, and I think we have a pretty good feel for who that's going to be. Young man had a pretty solid first half in his first start at quarterback.
I guess there's no mystery, Mike.
Gee, Mike, who could that be? Well, we'll reveal the name after this. 2:45, 3rd and 13. And Braden Hunter with the carry. Can't get past the line of scrimmage. And an enthusiastic tackle made by Israel Gibbons.
It's nice surge.
Gittins, excuse me. Sorry.
No, that's all right. Just nice surge up front there. I mean, again, I know you got 2s on 2s here, but you look at that defensive line out there right now, and while they don't have quite the height of what we've seen, they've got some solid build, and they're coming across that way. So we're probably talking about how they're coached in terms of their technique and in terms of their execution, and that first step and that explosion and staying low, and it shows. It really does show if you watch them.
Campbell in the gun. 2 minutes remaining in the quarter. Carlisle on their way to 0-1 to start the year. Meanwhile, the Cats will be 1-0, and I think, I could be wrong, but I think there's going to be a motion penalty there.
Yeah, that sometimes is one of those offsides on everyone but the center kind of thing. I don't know what happened, because although I didn't see the whole line move.
But it's fair, because if that many people move, usually the guy who's supposed to snap the ball didn't.
Someone unplugged his thing,
yeah.
His Ethernet. Is that an Ethernet? I don't even know. I'm out of my league.
I think it's just a Wi-Fi hotspot.
The point is, he didn't get the signal.
He did not. There was no signal there. It's, again, center, most important guy on the field. Play can't start without him.
4th and very long here.
And the clock will start following that penalty. It was already running before the false start by Carlisle. So 4th and 21. Campbell in the shotgun, rolling to his right. Some backside pressure as he steps up. He's going to tuck it and run and get just destroyed on the sideline. Clean hit. Brings the bench to life. I think Coach Heckert's in there headbutting people without a helmet.
Yeah, no, it was a stick, and that's what you want to see is that intensity. I mean, again, it's a culture, right? I was reading an article today about North Penn down in the suburban Philadelphia area. They got 107 guys on the roster, right? It doesn't matter how big your school is, how small your school is. You can only put 11 out there. But you need more than 11, and you want to see that. As a coach, you're going, I need guys on the kickoff team. I need guys on the punt team. I need somebody ready to step up next year. I need somebody to step up in 2 weeks, and we don't even know that we need them yet, but we're going to need them. And so you see a play like that, that'll get some extra review in the team film session. There's no doubt.
I try to put together a little highlight video after every game. That right there will be the final play of the highlight video, and I'll do it in like a slow motion form too for extra emphasis,
extra effect.
92 seconds remaining for the Cats en route to victory number 1 on the season. Handoff goes to Darius Crawford George, and Darius He is going to be tackled near the line of scrimmage on the far side of the field. Landon Tragan, also Reese Trago in the area. Reese Trago, a freshman. Only a pair of freshmen at quick glance on this varsity roster for head coach Brandon Cook, and Trago making a tackle. Under a minute as the Wildcat regular season winning streak will continue. It'll be 14 now. And the handoff from Despenis to Metz. And that should be the final play of the ball game.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, as you go through this tonight, obviously we talked about the guys we knew and we saw from them what we expected to see from them, but there are a lot of sophomores who got some time tonight, in addition to the juniors and seniors, of course, but a lot of sophomores, and they look the part, and I'm sure they're not going to be expected to carry a heavy load, all of them, but they look the part, and that bodes well. Again, for what Coach Heckert is building here and what he's creating. And that's why he gets all excited about that tackle. It wasn't the first hit of the game. It wasn't a hit of the game when the game mattered, but it was a big hit, and he wants to celebrate that with his players and let them know that you all contribute. You all mean something, and we need you all if we're going to continue to build something special here.
As the teams go through the handshake line, we're going to step out for 2 minutes. When we come back, we'll recognize our 11 Oaks Farms player of the game and then wrap it up. Your final from Carlisle, Mechanicsburg, 38, the Thundering Herd 7. Back after this, live on Go Mechanicsburg.
With True Green, we got a great price on a golf course quality lawn.
Which attracted golfers.
Morning.
Who needs a warm-up? And because True Green's doing the work, we get to have more fun.
Please don't post that.
Too late.
They don't have grass this thick in Australia.
That's what happens when you have a great lawn.
Shanked it again, huh? They're fun to have around.
PGA Tour quality lawns for as little as $1 a day.
Where are we playing next?
Get started at TrueGreen.com.
A deck where memories are made, barbecues are grilled, and sunsets are savored. But let's face it, not all decks are created equal. Enter Westshire Decks. We're not your average deck builders. Precision is our mantra. We don't just build decks, we craft outdoor living spaces tailored to your dreams. With Westshire Decks, you get seasoned experts who know decks inside and out. So why settle for a deck that's just okay when you can have one that's extraordinary? Westshire Decks, where craftsmanship meets creativity. Give us a call today and come see how we are different.
Wolf Brewing Company, located in Legacy Park, just off South Market Street in Mechanicsburg, offers a family and pet-friendly atmosphere for community members of all ages. Family owned by Wildcat graduates, Wolf Brewing Company serves up delectable dishes including comfort foods with a gourmet twist, plus drinks of all types for the community, from the community. Roll in before, during, or after the game for their laid-back ambiance, live music, trivia, and more. Wolf Brewing Company, 100 Legacy Park Drive, Suite 400, or online at wolfbrewingco.com. Are you on the hunt for a new home? Maybe you're a growing family looking to expand your living situation, or you find your current space too large and you're simply looking to downsize. Whatever your needs, contact Charity Kastner, Realtor with RSR Realtors today. Charity knows the local real estate market and she will find the right home for you. Charity Kastner isn't just a Mechanicsburg-based realtor, she's a Mechanicsburg mom. And after all, mother knows best. Just ask her kids. Make the move today by calling Charity Kastner at 717-557-9312 or rsrrealtors.com to find your first or next home sweet home.
Getting you back to Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics, presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville. Live on Go Mechanicsburg.
Back in the Members First Federal Credit Union broadcast booth, Mike Garland, Dave Harris, live on Go Mechanicsburg. Thank you for tuning in. The Wildcats victorious 38-7, and Dave, we'll keep it short and sweet. Our 11 Oaks Farms player of the game, Noah Apple. No doubt about it. 3 touchdowns in the first half. He showed some speed. He showed some poise. He's got some room to grow, but he played very well.
Yeah, no, impressive. Like I said, I'm not surprised, and yet if you'd have said, is this exactly what you expected, I don't think that would have been fair to put those expectations on him. But there he was. Sure enough, he delivered. And the reality is there were a few other guys who had some impressive nights that didn't make it a shoe-in, or you could argue if you just saw their stats that they were the shoe-in. Collins there had some big plays on defense, and obviously, Reese Moore running the ball. But no, Noah Apple, I think, is the leader of this team, and it's going to be fun to watch.
An exciting game. Cats victorious, 1-0 on the year, and that's all Coach Heckert would expect is you win the week, right? Like we kept saying last year, you can't go 10-0 until you can go 1-0 this week. And I think everybody's interested to see what this season's going to bring. And for the third year in a row, it opens with a win against the Carlisle Thundering Herd. We're going to wrap things up for our great Go Mechanicsburg live stream crew. Ryan Hartman on the score interface. Dave Harris, my tag team partner for now the 6th season. Ben Shad on camera and mentoring our student camera operator, Austin Bitts. Austin was on camera the entire second half, and he will be with us next week at Northern Lebanon as Ben slides on mic with me. And Dave, we'll miss you next week, but you're going to leave us in good hands, I think, right?
I think you guys will be just fine without me, but I will return if invited and get back into the seat here.
We'll think about it.
All right.
Have a good night, fans, and enjoy your weekend.
This has been a presentation of Mechanicsburg Wildcat Athletics. Live on YouTube at Go Mechanicsburg. Wildcat Athletics live on YouTube is presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville, Bobby Ray Hall Automotive Group, Charity Kastner RSR Realtors, Your Neighborhood Chick-fil-A at Shepherdstown Crossing, Lawnscapes Inc., Members First Federal Credit Union, Operation Wildcat, OSS Health, now with 2 locations on the West Shore, Mechanicsburg Area Recreation Department, RBC Wealth Management and the Turnbridge Group, Renewed Hearing Solutions, Shaggy Chic Dog Grooming, Sheets, Snappers Bar and Grill, Seth Gardner State Farm, Your Harrisburg True Green Lawn Care, Westshire Decks servicing all of Central PA, the Wildcat Foundation, and Wolf Brewing Company. Additional thanks to the Mechanicsburg Area School District and to all the friends, family, and community members who tune in to watch the games. The Mechanicsburg Wildcats. Presented by 11 Oaks Farms in Newville on Go Mechanicsburg Live.